Hey y'all, it's me again, Joey.
Well, ready to let them loose?
Yep, that's it. Let's see if they make us run.
Oh,
Probably so.
yeah, that one tried to get after him, but other than that, what can you expect? I mean, can you blame them? Oh yeah, they're getting after us now. Go, Joey, go!
Hey man!
Hey, man, buddy. I'm gonna get in the truck. You gotta go back and get your camera.
But also, just get as many as you can off the one next to it. Out.
You gotta move away.
Do that side again. Y'all ready? Let's get started. Well, hello everybody. Glad to see everybody coming in today. Got Philip with us today, Mr. JW. Tom and Melissa, they were there. They said they'd be back in a minute. Just now getting in the little honey house here. Kind of been in a run all evening. Getting ready for a big day tomorrow. How you doing, Mr. JW?
I'm great. Almost perfect.
Almost perfect.
Yeah.
That's great. What about you, Philip? You doing okay?
I'm doing good. I'm out here either dragging the dog or he's dragging me.
Yeah. What you looking at?
Well, I was looking, my bees have a strong smell of perfumey kind of smell to them. And I was down here at my neighbor's who has a bunch of flowering trees trying to figure out what it was, but I hadn't solved the mystery yet. He's got this, let me see if I can show you. He's got this, let me get it behind me. Let's see, can y'all see that? It's a big ligustrum tree, wax leaf ligustrum.
Yeah.
And it's got, but it has that similar smell to that, what that nectar smells like, but it's just budded out. It's not blooming yet. And it got no smell at all right now. The only thing I found was some ligustrum, not ligustrum, some wisteria. And it's just started to bloom.
My wife's got a tree. Actually, my youngest son had brought it to her and planted it. He used to do some yard work for a couple of ladies, and she wanted it dug up and threw away. And he brought it home to my wife. And I don't know what it is. I'd have to ask her. But when that thing starts coming in bloom, it just feels. I got about an acre and a half, 2 acre yard, and it just fills that whole place up.
Almost.
No telling where it's coming from.
Yeah, it's a distinct smell. Noah and I moved to a couple of hives this morning, and because it's a little bit warmer than it has been, I make a little a screen that I strap to the top and take the cover off the top so they get plenty of ventilation. And as we were loading them up last night, that smell of that whatever that is was just like overpowering. I didn't particularly like it. I'm not a big perfumey smelling, I don't really like the smell of lavender, to be honest with you.
It kind of smells good for a little bit, but it's not something I like to keep smelling either.
Joey, I see a stranger out there in my backyard. I don't know if it's Philip or not, but somebody's out there smelling on my old dirty underwear.
Bees might be working your old dirty underwear. Uh-oh. I don't know if the bees, I got this, I forget what this stuff here is called. It's a Japanese something or another. It's starting to bloom, but.
Oops, I think he hung up.
Yeah.
Lost him there.
I'm glad there's something coming in, I guess.
Yeah. You froze up there for a second or two.
Did I? My phone probably is trying to decide whether it wants to be on Wi-Fi or not when I walk away from the house.
Mm-hmm. You locked up just a second there, but you come out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and my dog couldn't agree on the way to go. So here, let me show you what happened. This is what I came home with.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the way mine is with a collar. I can't keep him in it.
He's okay. He looks happy. He's happy to be out of it.
Yeah. You got him tired. You got his tongue hanging out.
Yeah. Whew, how's everybody doing tonight?
Doing great.
Pretty good.
I'm awfully tired. I worked all day, physical work all day. I'm getting too old for that crap, I guess. It's hard on me.
You got to get Tom over there to do that work.
He's too busy eating. He's eating all the time.
That's true. You got to feed him every like 30 minutes.
Yeah, eats you out of the house and home.
But y'all been doing any bee work? I know Joey's been doing a little. He had a video.
Yeah, I couldn't help. I wasn't going to do any today, but I couldn't help it. I went and put a frame of honey in a little small colony. Nuked it overwintered. Gave him a frame.
I've been building some more bottom boards. I put 15 more deep hive bodies together today. I got the inventory and everything, and I'm gonna run short, I think, if I don't, for stuff to build comb in. So I've got it. I guess I got a good problem. Most of my stuff I've got all drawn out. So
yeah,
I've got some more frames I want to get drawn out. So I'm gonna have to put some more hive bodies, and I built some more bottom boards. And I'm cutting up. I've got my stands on individual, or my beehives are all on individual stands, and I put rubber matting underneath them. I went over to Indiana and got 350 yards of conveyor belting. I'm cutting it up in 4-foot sections. It's 4 foot wide, and so that's what I put underneath my stands. So
that'll work.
Yeah, I've been using it for years, but I'd run out to what I had, so I had to get some more. So. Got a lot of coal mines pretty close to me, so I can go over and get that. It depends on the salvage value. Sometimes you can get it for nothing, or sometimes it costs you. I had to buy this, so it's got a little salvage value to it now. So
I like that stuff. I had to come up there and get me some.
Well, I told you you'd be welcome. You just have to. Yeah. It'll cut you off whatever you need. I've still got probably 400 feet of it left.
I do like Tom does you. I'll tell you how big I need my squares or pieces, and you can have it all cut up for me when
I've got some cut. I guess I could email it to you.
Yeah. Just make sure when you email it to me, I'm on wideband.
I love old people.
You ought to be feeling the love in this group, then.
Oh man, you know what? Every time I listen to that man talk, I just can't help but to chuckle. You know, he always has something new for me. I can tell you that.
I had intentions. This ain't bee related, but I had intentions. One of the houses there close to where Russell Ammon is in Tylertown, Mississippi, was a house my son used to own, and I stayed in it while we were renovating our house after I retired. I actually did. Let's see, one of my videos that I did on my nuke boxes when I revised them, and I was in a I don't know if y'all watched me that far back or not, but I was up in a garage. That house is one of them that got hit by that tornado last week. And
Wow.
it demolished it. I mean, it just took it all and just like imploded it. It just one big pile of lumber. And it had actually covered up the people. They fine, but it had covered up the people that were in it. They had to dig them out. This a big, big house. You could set my house just in the master quarters. This house is separated and it's L shaped, and it's designed where a pool's supposed to be in the V area, and the whole wing is strictly uh, the master bedroom end of the house, and my whole house is set down in this one end. So I love that house. I got kind of used to it while we were staying there. We were just living in one wing of it. But anyway, back to beekeeping. I actually was going to try to find some pictures of it and show y'all, but I'll have to do that another day. I have got almost everything that needed split in my place. I had maybe 3 double deeps that just wasn't quite ready, and I'm just giving them another week or so, and I'm gonna come in and probably split them. Giving them another week.
Well, if you run out of anything to do, you can come up here and do mine.
Yeah. I see a lot of people saying hey over there. I'm so far behind now.
Yeah, I went back and looked at the comments. There's a ton of Brian, Brian told my secrets about dancing in the bathroom with perfume too. I didn't like that. I thought we were keeping that between us.
Gotcha.
That guy, you can't trust him for nothing.
You got your number.
I do have the invitation link pinned to the top. If anybody else wants to come in with us,
How do you do that, Joey? How do you do that? How do you pin that link up there?
All right, I copy that thing you was copying last week.
Yeah.
Then I left click into the chat field, and then I right click and paste it.
Mm-hmm.
And click on the little button there, just like you do in a chat, like that right there.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go, then you have to go over to the YouTube side.
Whoops, that's what I didn't do. Okay.
Yeah, you got to go to the YouTube side and find it. Left click on it, and then you click on pin to top or something like that. Pin message. That's what it's going to say. I got a lot of videos
up YouTube and the StreamYard together yet. I've just been running strictly on StreamYard.
Yeah. Well, see, when you want to go to the YouTube, see right up in the right corner, just to the left where it says "In Stream."
Mm-hmm.
You see the YouTube channel right there. You click on that little check mark. I don't know if you have that right now.
I don't have that right now, but I know what you're talking about.
You know where it's at.
Yeah.
You can click on that YouTube, and it'll take you right to YouTube. Do whatever you need to.
I'll have to do a little more experimenting.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I won't have to do it anymore. But Ricky will be back. That's hard work.
Tom, did you wax dip the double screens too? The double screen cover, divider boards. Didn't you say you had some of them?
Yeah, that's right. I finished assembling all of them, and I did wax dip all those. I did all of my stuff yesterday. Yeah. Mine and Matt and then his wife Sandy. I'm just
I
kidding.
don't think you got the wire on them though, did you, Tom? You haven't put the
No,
wire.
that's the only thing I didn't do. I wasn't worried about it yet. I don't have the wire on them yet. I have the
Yeah,
roll of wire. I have all the staples and everything ready to go. I was going to try to get one of my buddies to shear it all up, and then I was going to just put it on. So
I've done them with the wire on them, Tom. It don't make that much difference, really.
said that. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, most of the time I would have just put them on there and taken care of it, but I didn't finish those double screen boards until the day before. When I guess it was Wednesday, because I wax stipped all that stuff yesterday. I think Matt had 39 pieces that he wax stipped. And let's see, I had 80 plus 40 plus. I had 191 pieces, and then Matt had 39 pieces. So we did 230 pieces on Thursday, and then today, how many we did?
Like 160.
160.
Uh-huh.
We wax tipped 160 pieces for the EMBA members today as our fundraiser, which is actually
that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it really was. Yesterday was a harder job than today was. I actually had it was just Matt and I and then Melissa yesterday, but I had a few people helping out, so I didn't have to wax tip the entire time. So some good guys from the club helped out.
Did you ever get to a point where you was thinking, why did I ever start this?
Well, I mean, it's tiresome, but I just, I focus on the prize, on the goal at the end, and just get after it. Next thing you know, you're done. So I don't know, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time, because when you fire up those tanks, you kind of have to babysit them just a little bit. Like I was up this morning at 3:00 this morning and went up to the shop to change out a tank on it to make sure I had plenty of fuel. I'm monitoring it from basically like a barbecue device called a Fireboard. So if anybody's a barbecuer in here or does a lot of smoking of meats and stuff, this is called Fireboard. It works off of Wi-Fi. So basically I can have this anywhere that there's Wi-Fi, and you plug up to 6 different probes in it, whether it's a meat probe or an ambient air probe, anything like that. So I plug a probe into it and I throw it down to the wax. And then up at the shop, there's Wi-Fi. And then from my house, I can monitor it. Anywhere I have a signal, right? And I can see what the temperature fluctuations are and what it's doing exactly. And then I can view it from the cameras at the shop too, and make sure that nothing's going awry outside. But I don't know, it works out pretty well. And that's kind of how I monitor it. Yeah, that's right. Politicking time. I did a little bit of politicking today while those guys
Not
were
a little
wax
bit, a lot.
Hey, zip your mouth, woman. Nobody asked you. You're not
I
on
love
the chat.
it.
Listen, I have a council employee over here. One of my migrant workers is getting a little rowdy. If you give me a second, I'll handle it. Oh, she has a look in her eye. Look out, guys.
Looking for something to throw at him.
Better hide that knife. No, Matt came out yesterday and we had a good time wax dipping. He got out there in the afternoon and it was fun. When you have a couple guys there to hang out with and chat and cut up with a little bit, it really makes the day work out a lot better, So I don't know. We're happy to do it for the club. People really I feel like they'll get a lot of good value out of it for a small fee that they can pay to the club. And it helps us bring in speakers and, helps us to bring in, different educators, and that takes funding to do that. So I don't know. I enjoy doing it for the club. I think we have a really phenomenal club. And at this point, I have no reason to stop doing it. We're just doing it, trying to only do it one day. Last year it was 2. Just trying to do it one day a year. So basically I've gotten everything I need to take care of done. So as far as I'm concerned, unless something actually pops up, I really don't need a wax tip anymore this year. So,
Well, last year it had to go to 2 days because you had one guy had almost 100 pieces.
yeah, one guy last year had almost 100 pieces himself, and then I don't know, it was almost 300 pieces we wax tipped in 2 days. And anyway, it worked out fine. I think I went through 2.5 boxes of Hive Guard wax. So all the wax that I bought at Nabi, I've used all up. It's in the tank now. The tank's full, but I don't have any. I can still dip. I'd have to order more wax.
When y'all doing that, do everybody pay so much per piece that they're cooking?
It's $6 per piece.
Okay, you already got it figured out.
Yeah. I feel like that's pretty fair, you know, and the club gets all the proceeds. The only thing I ask them to pay for is my, what's wrong?
5's the right price.
Oh yeah. And, hey, in your infinite wisdom, please tell me about this. I'm curious. He just pushed it back because that's what he does.
You just have to load everybody up and go to JW's next year.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey,
We'll bring
I
a
don't
trailer
charge
load.
anything, Joey. I'm already
Hey, I like that. When you have a comment, you step up to the plate, right? That's how that works.
So what you do is take it all to him, and then you take a $1 cut on every piece.
That's exactly what he's doing.
you are right, buddy. The one thing I asked him to pay for is the fuel and the wax. That's it.
Okay.
All that hard earned. I mean, look at my face. It's kind of like.
I know a little bit about it.
Do we have to?
Yeah.
Hey,
I know,
look at it.
I know a little bit about the cost. $5 is right on the money.
Did y'all wear a mat out?
Poor people.
This is a good crowd. I like to push back. Never a dull moment on here. Hey, Steve, how you like that ThermalWorks probe? Well, I really splurged on that Fireboard. I really did. But I'll tell you what, I've had it now for
4 or 5 years.
I'd say at least 4 or 5 years. Never failed me. So I don't know. It's pretty good. It's convenient, you know. You can actually, not to jump off on the subject, but you know what, that it's primarily for like smoking meats or barbecuing, like when you're away from it, and you can just monitor it. So I can set up something in the pork butt in the smoker in the morning, leave for the day, and just monitor from my phone. And if, you know, if you need to come home for whatever, then you know, have your stuff all taken care of for you, basically. So I don't know. It just serves a dual purpose. I use it for that wax tank, and you know, get more value out of it, I guess. But it's good having a nice tool to help make things a little bit easier for you. I think the one thing that I want to change on that wax dipping tank is I don't remember. I think it's a couple 100,000 BTU burner. It's probably about, I'm going to say maybe 9-10 inches around. And I feel like I'd like to have a burner that's a little bit bigger than that. The one JW has, man, I'd like to find something similar to that. He's got, it's basically a 2 burner style. And I think there was, JW, correct me if I'm wrong, that was 4 burners under there.
Yeah, it's got 4 individual burners. Yeah.
See, that's ideal because now you can evenly heat the entire bottom of that tank really well, you know? So
4-inch circle.
Yes. Yeah. That's the ideal setup. You can. Yeah, that's right. It's now, hey Steve, it's now a designated wax probe. It's not going to go into any of the meat, that's for sure.
You know, Tom, I just used one of them little guns. You know, got the little red beam. That works well on that wax. You know what I'm talking about?
Say that one more time. Melissa kept interrupting me like a child.
Melissa, you stay out of this.
That's right. This is the He-Man
live.
You know, she just couldn't keep out of it.
I am helping Tom show these pictures. I look like a hot mess. Just don't pay attention to that.
Well, JW didn't ask you to do that, or Joey didn't ask you to do that.
I was going to share some pictures of what we waxed.
This is Joey's channel. This is his operation, and I'm just the employee today.
That's right.
I was just going to show you a picture of my 5-gallon of paint that I got from the Oops rack at the Home Depot.
Yeah,
that's a lot more interesting.
Joey, are you okay if I share these pictures right now?
Showing a can of paint. I want to see the can of paint.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You need me to add it? Can you?
Yeah,
add
you need to add it. So
That's part of ours. That's not. I had 32 medium supers, 71 double screen boards, a bunch of 5-frame shim boards, and I had 40 deep boxes. So everything's not on that truck sitting there.
Okay, so I have a question, Tom.
Yes, sir.
How does the wax react to the screen?
So it'll collect on the screen, and it'll basically it'll kind of bridge on the screen. But when I pull it out and it's nice and hot, I give it a tap on the side, and all that wax drops right out of the openings.
All right, good.
Now, if you were not to do that, obviously it would harden inside those little.
Yeah.
Because I'm using an eighth inch hardware cloth.
I've thought about that with like my screen bottom boards, how that would come out.
Yeah, you wouldn't have any problem. Like JW said, if you notice on the upper left-hand corner of that picture right there, you'll see that the double screen boards don't have on the upper left. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
the
that
screen boards
screen.
don't have any screen in them. I just hadn't cut it yet. I have it. I just have not cut it.
Right.
So anyway, that's all.
Yeah, the double screen board would be all right. You could wait and put the screens on later, but
Yeah. So actually, go back one picture. I'll point one thing out. So if you look upper left-hand corner where my double screen boards are, that's actually just 3/4 inch interior plywood that I got full half sheets for $5 a piece. And I think I had
On Facebook Marketplace, right?
Yeah, it was brand new cutoffs is what it was. I had 14 or 15 pieces that I bought from that guy for $5 each. So I had like $75 in that, and it made me 71 of those. This is for 8-frame equipment, mind you. It made me, and I went and bought some 1x4s from Menards, and I ripped them all down. I got 4 rips out of them to get a 3/4 by 3/4 inch rim or standoff, whatever you want to call it. And I glued and stapled all those down. And then we wax dip them, and I'll put the screen on.
And then all these boxes are from Daniel at Golden View, right?
Yeah.
did you cut like a little rabbit in your frame piece?
No, all I did was I just fast them straight to the top with the Type Bond 3, and then I used a narrow crown 1.25" staple.
I hope you, when you're not using them, keep them indoors or under cover or something.
Well, I actually might, just for giggles, I might leave one of them outside, just throw it outside and see how it weathers over time. But my idea would be, so I'm going to use the double screen boards to make all of my, and I won't have quite enough, but to make all my splits here this spring, I've got slated to be about 100 and just to start the year off. And so I'm going to have to build some in nukes, but I'm going to try to build as many as I can there. And I have like 6 or 7 other ones that I bought from a couple different individuals, Bob and Greg Burns, to try those out. And those are made out of HDO. My intention is to build my nukes above the parent colony and let them grow over the top of the parent colony until probably, I don't know, maybe a week or so before. Then I'll harvest it all, and then I'll put it in the nuke. And then when everything is good to go, then I will sell them off. So
that's kind of the way I work it.
Yeah. So Joey, please tell me this is going to be a little bit new for me doing this on this kind of scale. So tell me what your experience is and how that has worked out for you. Do you feel like, I guess the first question I have is, do you feel like that causes that nucleus colony to be ready a little bit sooner because of them not having to work as hard to thermoregulate?
Yes.
Okay.
I've always practiced when I put my 5-frame nuke in there. I put 2 plastics on each side of them. And a lot of times I've always used what I call the empty frames, the foundationless frames, just for filler. Okay. And I still do that a little bit, but if I got the extra plastic, I go ahead and stick it in there, because sometimes by the time those bees are ready, they done got 2 or 3 plastic frames started drawing out.
Okay.
And I can take them and use somewhere else when they get ready to sell.
Yeah. I noticed in your video, Joey, those look like some of your cutout frames. They look like they had a 1/2 inch top bar on them or something. That's what it looked like I saw in your video. It didn't look like
some of the frames I have are wedge frames.
Maybe that was it.
Or that's the way I used to get them. And then I found the ones with the beveled on the bottom of the top bar.
Yeah.
Brian, Tom needs me for anything technological, so He
Hold on,
he,
where did he say?
he could tell me to see my way out, but he'd be lost.
Hey, Brian's on my side. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
One thing that I have ran into sometimes, and I guess that I could fix the problem easily by just moving them. But sometimes when people don't come get them as soon as they need to come get them, and they're still on top of a double deep, by the time they do come get them, or before that double deep is needing a third box on it.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I have to do that. If I do that, in most cases, I go ahead and just relocate it somewhere. They'll lose some of their flying bees if they don't come get them in time. But
Yeah, they'd probably just go back to the parent colony, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
probably 2 different entrants.
You can just
So
leave the lid cracked a little bit. And
my thought was, so I use 8-frame equipment. So if I pull out 4 frames, into that split, I can put 4 empty. I mean, they'll have foundation in them, frames in there, so that they can work on drawing those out. And I'm hoping they'll, again, utilize a little bit of that time and I'll probably do a couple gallons of feed on them over the course of me having them. But my idea is that I'm going to have these ready in 3 weeks after introducing a mated queen. This is not a walk-away split. This is a mated queen. Yeah. So that's my hope. 3 weeks and I'm done. Now I left myself a little bit extra time in there, but I'm just hoping that thermoregulation and that extra heat coming off that parent colony is enough just to give them a little bit of a bump where they don't have to worry about, utilizing some of that bee strength for thermal regulation, but they can utilize some of that bee strength maybe for either feeding the brood or maybe building some wax or something of that nature.
Yeah.
Let's do so.
This picture is Matt with Sandy Valley stuff. He's got, if you look at the top one, the colors on it, he has, I thought it was a 3-way, if I remember right. Or no, maybe it's a 2-way. Matt, if you're in the comments, double.
There's only 2 entrances.
Well, he might have had one on the back side. I can't recall.
That's a 2-way. Remember, he showed us the divider board with the masonite goes in the middle.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he has all those boxes that have the dado or the groove in there for if you want to make mating nukes. And he's got some migratory lids there and some stuff for his 5-frame nukes that he hit it and finish up. But he's got all that jazz. Oh, look at this motley crew right here. That was just us clowning.
That's a nice little salt pile there.
And then that was some of the stuff from the EMBA.
Are those migrant workers?
Yeah, that they are. I'm not sure where the one guy in the background, I'm not sure where he migrated from. I think it was in Jefferson County. And the other one, she came from south of the border.
So that's everything that was done for the EMBA today.
But we made it through all of it. It all went really well. Melissa and one of the other gals checked them all in and handled all the logistics and stuff. And me and there's 4 of us. Now there was a couple more throughout the day, but we just kind of clowned around a little bit and just had a good time down there. So anyway, that was our fun adventure for today. But we got it all taken care of. Everyone's squared away, and hopefully that'll help everybody out throughout the season.
Steve asked where we got the screen from. So we got the screen from Menards, actually, and we've gotten it at Tractor Supply before.
I got it from Menards, Tractor Supply, or Amazon. Those are just the easiest ways to get a hold of it. So,
Joey, you got to add everybody back or change the
I
thing.
got to get us back over here. There we go.
All right, I'm going to see my way back to the chair over there. Bye-bye.
evening, Ben.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, man.
How you doing?
Pretty good. Hey, so yeah, I just thought I'd pop on here and ask the same question to the group that I asked you. So kind of a little setup on this. I've got 3 the Layens insulated hives, and I've got drones walking in those 3 hives, and I've got plenty of drone brood. And anyway, I got into my Langstroth hives, and I've got a double deep 8 that is just wall to wall in the upper box and the lower box. And it's like, Tom knows where we're at here in Missouri as far as how far along things are, but I got nectar coming in, I got pollen coming in. And it's like, I don't think these bees can stay in this box. So I kind of did something harebrained. I guess for the time of year. I made sure my queen was in the bottom box, and I threw a double screen divider board in, and I'm just going to let it roll. And it may be too early, but my logic was, well, if my insulated hives got drones, feral colonies out there that a new virgin would mate with would probably also have drones. So what's everybody think about that?
And for reference, Ben is just outside of St. Louis, like myself, by about, what, 45 miles?
Yeah.
I would say only the good Lord knows. You just have to try it.
Yeah. I'm rolling the dice.
You can always just pull the divider board out if it fails.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. You know, worst case scenario, I end up with a whole lot of bees that I can make some other splits with.
Who else has a comment in there? I'm just curious to see everybody's thoughts.
Well, I can't really say about that area up there, but did you say you had some non-insulated hives that had drones too?
No, they've all got drone brood. That double deep 8 had drone brood both upstairs and downstairs, as well as worker brood. It was slammed full of nectar and pollen, and these girls were rolling. I think that queen had track shoes on because she's been in both boxes, up and down.
If you got that queen in the my thought would be, Ben, rather than the double screen, if you're not seeing walking drones in your colonies, I would come there doing a on the spot split.
Yeah.
Top deal off and notch it. That'll give you, you know, almost 30 days.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Matt said he did 20 of them today with double screen boards.
Well,
Matt at Sandy Valley.
yeah, he's closer to you than me. I'm on the same.
Yeah, he's a little farther south, isn't he, Tom?
Just barely, not by
Yeah.
much, but just a little bit. Probably only maybe by 15 or 20 miles at the most.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that much difference, I wouldn't say. Yeah, I've got some cloak boards too. You could try it. Well, if you don't have one, that don't do you any good. But.
Right.
So somebody
Go ahead.
explain the difference of a cloak board or a double screen.
Difference, you can control the cloak board a little bit more because you got the sliding, you can close them off.
I know Mike Berry uses the cloak board on the hive that he's going to use for his cell builders.
Yep.
And finishers. He uses the cloak board on it.
Yeah.
Well, he uses a double screen on everything else he's splitting.
Most of the time, the cloak board is used in conjunction with a queen excluder too, right?
Yeah, you can. You don't have to.
I really can't say.
I didn't know if cloak board was just an older term for a double screen or if there's a clear difference in the two.
No, actually, a cloak board has a like a blind or a piece of metal
slide in there, Tom. Yeah. You can shut it completely off when you get to that point.
Yeah, you use it to separate. The reason I say use it with a queen excluder, you usually want to get your queen on one side or the other, depending on where you want it
queen excluder built in it
before you enact that cloak board.
Yeah,
so you know which side she's on.
Okay. Brian says a cloak board is a queen excluder under the metal pullout.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you're excluding the queen from one area to the other, and then when you come, so they're not. Neither box would consider themselves queenless until you close it. When you close it, they now consider themselves queenless. So at that point in time, they'll either make cells or be accepting of a queen, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
that's right. And you can open up the entrance on the back side of it.
And they reverse entrance on your cloak board.
I feel like they're do the same thing, but just different tools.
Yeah.
It's a little easier to manipulate than a double springboard. Double springboard, you're taking it off and putting it back on.
Yeah.
And the cloak board, once you're through, the person that used them was that Walk in the Weeds guy. He uses them to make queen cells. He
Yeah.
starts his queen cells and he only leaves them in there for like 1 or 2 days, and then he opens that back up and lets
okay.
them finish them. So,
So
he doesn't have to pull his colony apart again.
he's using it as a queen starter, is what he's doing. A queen cell starter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he opens it back up for a finisher.
That makes perfect sense because now you get the excess of the bees down below to finish capping that off. Queen can't get to them, so.
That's the idea behind them. The queen excluder built right into your cloak boards if you get a commercial made one.
Mm-hmm. Do any one of you guys have any, and have you used them in the past? Is that?
Yeah, I've got 2 or 3 of them.
Oh, you have to show them to me when I come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better keep an eye on those, JW. One of them might end up in Tom's truck.
Well, you
His
still
are
have
probably
sticky fingers, I can tell you that.
his are probably 10 frame. I got no use for that junk.
No, it's there. I got 8 frame ones.
Oh, cool. Well, hey, yeah, Ben, you're right. They'll end up in my truck. I'll leave him one.
He's usually using them sticky fingers to eat with. He's too busy. He's too busy eating to feel anything.
Hey, that's what I was doing before I came on. Go figure, right?
Okay, well, I won't stay on here. I'll stay in the chat, guys. I'll let you get back to what other topic that might be. So
You don't have to run off.
Yeah, you can stay in.
I think Don's
all right, well,
Stay in here a little.
We got to have somebody in here besides just,
new blood
me
help.
and JW to bring the looks up of this place, Ben. So you need to
Sometimes we need adult supervision around here.
That's right.
I need somebody else to insult anyway, Ben.
Wait, are you done with me? That's all you got? I'm not even trying yet.
No, I'm just being my usual self. Have a good evening.
Yep.
hey, I'm gonna run off here and grab a splash of coffee, guys. I'll be right back.
All right.
Have at her.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this year. I'm pretty excited about the level of building that we're going to be doing. I accept the challenges in which it presents to me. So we'll have a lot riding on this, but I have the utmost faith in what we're going to be doing here. So going to be a good year, and it's kicking off, and it's kicking off hard here, coming in like a lion. So
Yeah. 4 or 5 days ago, was worried about it was all ever going to warm up, and all of a sudden things are busting out the seams, and everybody's all excited again. So that's just typical beekeeping.
yeah,
Typical beekeepers.
We
I'm
still
wondering if
don't have a big flow going on down here. It's still just trickle. It's a trickle.
Man, we're on the verge. I've got about, if I counted correctly this morning, I think I got 7,863 and a half acres of henbit that's in bloom right now around me.
heck yeah,
And
that's some good stuff.
Pears. I don't think the bees mess with those Bradford pears much. I've never seen them. They don't work them.
I have 2 of them in my front yard, and I do see them working them from time to time, but I think it's probably just busy work and amongst other.
Hard up for something. They're scouting, looking for stuff probably.
Definitely.
So I had some. I actually had added some a bucket of honey in my bottling tank today, and you know how you get the skim on the top. I took that saran wrap and skimmed that slime off the top, and I set it in a bowl out there. Man, did the bees go after it?
It's amazing how when you pull that up, do you pull it from the middle?
Yeah.
I pull it up from the middle and just set it out there, and it's amazing how they can get all of that out of that.
Yeah, they'll go up inside. Every once in a while, you find one that didn't make it, but it's amazing how they did that. Yeah.
First time I ever did that, I said, well, they all after it. When they can't get no more, I try to spread it open. When I come back a couple hours later, they had it all clean.
Yeah. You don't have to spread it out for them. It helps sometimes maybe, but good evening from the crane. Hey, Lee. How you doing, buddy?
We ain't seen him in ages. It's been probably a month or 6 weeks.
He needs to get off work so he can give me a little tutoring on
Coming in twice, Philip.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Echo.
Hey,
Shoot, I'm trying to get in on my computer, but then when I hit leave, I hit the wrong button. So I'm gonna leave here first and then come in on the computer.
All
How's
right.
that?
That'll work.
don't let him in, Joey. Block him out. Let him sit in the background like JW does with all his guests. He lets him sit in the background for half an hour, act like he doesn't know what's going on, but he really does.
No, I've got to figure out something on my screen. All my settings are the mute stopgap sticks up at the bottom. You know, when you just do StreamYard only, and it covers about half the people that's in that's in your studio. You don't see them unless you're really paying close attention. And I don't ever pay close attention to anything. You know that by now. So,
Well,
All right. I got my proper title on this one too.
All right. Joey Swarm Catching Apprentice.
hey, I do want to thank. I got a package in the mail this week, and guess what? I'm now one of the boys, and I apologize to Mr. Brian because I meant to wear it and I left it out in my honey house. Yep. Mine's a lot prettier than that one though. He gave me one of the gold plated ones.
Oh, he did?
That was something special. Yes.
Probably one he threw on the floor. It got dirty. I'm surprised he just didn't email it to you, honestly. Seems like a waste to send it
Thank you very much, Ron. I really going to enjoy it. I'll have a lot of fun with that hat.
Well, that now means you're in the club because before you weren't. So welcome in.
Lee's gonna be like a buddy of mine. He's always operating that crane 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
A buddy of mine used to work offshore, and he operated the crane when he was offshore too. That's kind of where he cut his teeth at on the crane. But he got where he would work. Just he didn't have nothing to do, and people was always wanting to take off, so he would work his hitch and somebody else's, and he'd finally take one day off and go buy him a gun or something, and he'd come right back to work. He'd work a whole month just to figure out what kind of gun he's gonna buy next time he takes off.
Well, Steve, I apologize to you for not being there to let you on the after chat the other night, but I was so doggone tired. I was afraid I might fall asleep on the set. I had a long, hard day Thursday, so I didn't stick around long. I was wore out.
Hey, I'll defend him. I'll defend him. He's right. He did have a long, hard day, so we need to give him props. He was tuckered out. I know. Yeah, Steve was in the background, and I said, "Hey." He commented in the private chat, and we were all like, "Hey, we can't let you in. None of us have admin rights to JW's page. I don't think he trusts any of us, so he never left us."
Well, I don't know how to do it. I told you that.
I know. I'm just poking at you. And so so we couldn't let you in because otherwise we definitely would have let you in and chewed it for a little while and had some.
We got our conversation about that. I said you should do it. You at least you got Melissa for backup. I don't have anybody out here. I'm just a total imbecile.
Hey, if we're being honest right now, don't tell her I said this, all right? Don't put it in the chat. But if it wasn't for her, I'd be half lost on here too, honestly.
Yeah, Sam, I mess up on every one of my videos.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing them, Joey. So keep them coming. That's the only thing. So Melissa and I don't watch television programming anymore. We don't watch the news. We don't watch none of that stuff. Every once in a while, I'll watch a movie. But what we actually watch, the screen time that we get is this right here. This is our entertainment right here.
Oh, yeah.
So when you guys post those videos, and I appreciate when you guys all do, because that gives me something to usually when I head to bed, I watch a video or two and then I go to sleep. So.
Yep.
They're fun to watch. Even JW's unedited videos, I enjoy watching them, and I watch every one.
I sure don't edit of you. What you do?
Raw and uncut.
That's
What little
it's
I
just
put out.
real. That's okay.
I wouldn't know how to edit them if I wanted to.
Well, you put more of an effort than I do. I still have, I know Melanie's in here. I still have video footage and pictures and everything from when Melissa and I were out at their house when was that?
Was it in September or was it August?
Oh gosh, I can't even remember when. I think it was middle to late part of the summer. We are at their house, and I asked Dennis. I said, "Hey, I took a few pictures." I said, "Do you mind if I put some of the stuff in a video of what we did?" I said, "I can keep all the personal information out of it if you want." Or he's like, "No, just do whatever you got to do." I still have not made a video on that, and I have all that information sitting on the what's the editing software we use. Filmora. That Lee's the one that helped us out with that.
Yep.
So,
Ron, I'm just about as unknowledgeable as you on the other end of the spectrum as you are knowledgeable on that type of stuff, because I'm totally ignorant on this.
yeah, Pug family, the television's overrated. I don't watch it anymore. I don't like what I see. Not going to get off on a political thing, just saying I don't like what I see on TV programming. I don't watch it. This is our entertainment right here with you all folks. So
I've had direct TV ever since they come out, and I wouldn't miss it if I turned it off right now. I wouldn't miss it.
Yeah.
You know, Joey, so Melissa and I have had cable television, or Spectrum, that everybody knows it as that. Around here, it was called Charter before they rebranded, and their internet service. And literally for the last, well, I turned off the actual news 4 years ago. Since about COVID. A little while after that, I turned it off. And then about 2 years ago, I turned off the entire regular programming. But for the last 2 years, I've still been paying for cable bill. And finally, I'm like, can we just turn this off? Because we literally do not watch it, and saved what, $70 a month or whatever. And honestly, I mean, it's not been a big deal. So to each their own. Everybody has their own form of entertainment, and that's okay. It's just I get too bored. I mean, you guys see my attention span on here is pretty short, so about equivalent to a 3 or 4 year old, I guess.
Brian, I have Final Cut on my Mac, and I would love to use it. I just can't figure it out. I would really love to use it. I wouldn't buy Filmora no more if I could learn it.
So, Joey, let me ask you a question about the editing software. So, are you familiar with Filmora?
Yep, I'm the one that introduced Mike Berry to it.
Okay, so in your
I've been using
opinion,
it for a while.
do you think that Filmora is an easier, more user-friendly program to a less techie person than the Final Cut Pro or Final Cut, or either one?
Well, I can't figure out Final Cut. There's something not right. I need to watch some videos or something. I have actually tried to make videos on it. I get confused in it, and I don't know why. But Filmora is easy. It's real easy, but you got to watch them, because they'll post that they have an update, and it's a paid update.
Mm-hmm.
They charge you, almost charge you rent if you don't watch out.
So Melissa and I originally had the free version, and then we wanted some different music and such that was on there, and you have to pay for that version. It wasn't a subscription, because I don't like subscriptions. It's like a one-time additional fee.
It's an annual fee.
Yeah.
I mean, annual, once a year or what have you. But so we upgraded that so I could get some different music on the backgrounds and stuff. But I mean, you make a lot of videos and take the time to do it. We just don't. I mean, I always have the best intentions of doing it, but like you said, and even Brian on here and stuff, he's like, I spend a lot of time editing. For one, I don't want to sit behind the computer doing it, and Melissa does it when she has free time. So there's always other fires I feel like we have to put out before then,
Yeah.
So it just kind of gets pushed to the back burner.
Well, sometimes I get so aggravated trying to edit something. It seems like the more you edit, the less the video actually turns out to do anything. The less you edit, seems like the better it goes. So I don't know. Me and Bruce talked about that one time.
I've heard Randy, Dirt Rooster, actually say before, he goes, some of the videos that I've spent the most time editing and reviewing and spent the most time on have gotten lesser reviews. He goes, I've had some that were more just dry cut and sent out there that have gotten more reviews and more thumbs up and more attention than anything else. So I think it really doesn't always boil down to specifically how you edit it, maybe just more of the actual content that you've created. I don't know, just a thought there.
Well, just like the one that come out this morning, I downloaded it into Filmora yesterday. And after I got through working bees yesterday, I come in and edited that. Mm-hmm. When I got it put together, then I went back through, I went to eat, and then I come back, and then I went through chopping out all the dead time, like breaking frames, getting ready to pull them. I cut a lot of that out. And when I do that to any video, I get so tired of watching it.
Yep.
That I don't even like it anymore.
Yeah.
So my wife usually, I get her to watch it one time, and that's only after I tell her I'm getting ready to upload it to YouTube, and she'll watch it and she'll catch any mistake or tell me where she liked it or not. But
yeah, that's probably a good preview. Just let her, let one person or let somebody take a look at it and say, where did I mess up? But I'll be honest with you, if you say you have a lot of mess ups in there, I don't catch them. But I guess I'm not one that's looking for a mistake. I'm just looking just to be entertained by what it is that you're doing, and then learn a little something of how you're doing it. So. Again, I'm not trying to, I'm sure you have all those guys out there, those haters that are waiting for you to say the one wrong thing or make one wrong mistake, and they're going to call you out on it.
There's something about video and recording when I'm beekeeping, and it makes me totally different in my beekeeping time when I don't have a camera going.
Yeah.
Nobody's watching, so I just go through that thing. I don't talk to anybody. I pull it up, I see what I need to see, and I'm probably out of it. Where when I'm videoing it, I'm kind of going through explaining what I'm seeing and everything.
Yeah.
And it slows everything way down.
Yeah, I can see that.
And sometimes I get to saying, I'm going to stop this video and doing this YouTube stuff, but I enjoy doing it too. I feel like I've accomplished something just by getting it posted on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, Joey, let me just tell you from my perspective, please don't stop, because I know Mike Berry said the same thing. He's like, I'm thinking about quit. I'm like, don't stop. Just because somebody doesn't always and I've tried to be more proactive on commenting to your videos and saying, hey, I really enjoyed this, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, a lot of times I'll watch people's videos. I mean, Phillips, I watch JW's, yours, all kinds of guys. But I don't always go on there and comment or give.
Yeah.
I try to remember to go in there and put a little comment or a thumbs up so that it gets some notoriety. But I don't always do that, But so I'm telling you, from my perspective, there are people that enjoy watching it. So, you got an attaboy from me.
Yeah, I look forward to Saturday morning watching Joey's videos. So.
Yeah.
I'm jealous of these people that have somebody else video for them. That's what's, boy, that would, if I could just have somebody video for me and edit for me, I'd be in good shape.
My wife has videoed a couple of times for me. And usually it's when I'm, the 2 or 3 times she's done it is when I'm catching a swarm or either transferring one out of a swarm trap.
Yeah.
And it just seems like it's so much better that way when I don't have to focus on what the cameras are looking at, because she'll move where she needs to get.
Yeah.
I'd about be willing to pay somebody to go with me and just do it.
Yeah.
Do that part.
Oh, sure. I can imagine.
And they got people out there that actually, they might record their own stuff, like beekeeping or whatever. They may record it, but they don't do none of the editing. They send that thing off to somebody else and let them put it together for them.
Really? I didn't know they had that.
Hey, I don't have that kind of money, Joey. I'm a beekeeper. Hey, Brian actually had a really good question up there at the 8 p.m. mark.
Who's that?
Brian, Flower Street. Look up there. It's, I don't know, 10 comments, 12 comments up, maybe. Or no, it's a little more than that now.
All right.
Look at 8 p.m.
8.
Yep.
What
Flower
part of
Street.
it?
Yep.
Is that it?
Yep. That's a good question for you guys.
What part of editing takes the most time? I'm going to say what Joey says he does, and I do the same thing, is we come home with a 2-hour video and we want to try to figure out how to get it down to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's really hard. What I do is I go through and I do a rough cut. I just go through and just start cutting what I know I don't want it to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll usually be twice as long as I'm trying to get to. And then I'll just go home and come back the next day and watch it again with a fresh set of eyes. And then I can cut this part out too. This talking about whatever that was doesn't add anything to the video. So, but that's the hardest part for me, is trying to get it down to where it's like, I don't like to put anything out over around 25 minutes.
Okay.
And even that, I'd like to get them down to 12 to 15 minutes, but I can't. I've never been able to do that.
Yeah. What about you, Joey?
I'm kind of like what Brian says right here.
Mm-hmm.
Cutting out all the dead spots, because you'll miss them. I'll sit here and first thing I do is just put everything in Filmora. In this, like this morning's video, I just put it all in order. And a lot of times the first thing I'll do is just go in and chop off the front and the back of that file, where I started the camera and walking up there and getting ready to start. I cut that part off and then go to the end of it and cut the tail end off of every one of those pieces of every one of those files, because you're turning that camera on and off and everything. That's the first thing I do. And then when I go through it the next time, I figure out, because I used to record in 4K, but that got too harsh. It just, the files were so big. So I started in 2.7 or something like that. And I started recording in that. And then I figure out how much I want to focus in on it. And I get that size file first. In other words, if there's way too many hives showing and you want to focus on this one hive, I get it to that size, and then I save that whole file that way. And before I start chopping it up, because when you start chopping it up, then you're going to have all this different sizes and different places. And then I go through again and chop it up where I want to cut something out in the middle, speed it up or slow it down or make it disappear. But I'll get to watching and paying attention and cutting. And then the next thing I know, I guess I'm getting tired. Here I am sitting here watching it, and I watch me walk all the way over to the trailer and get stuff off. I said, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be cutting that part out, I know I'm tired when I watch myself walk to the trailer 3 or 4 times.
Oh, yeah. I think DC has a really good comment up here. It says, if you're trying to be instructional, that is when editing takes time. And I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, yep, I would overanalyze that to a T on every word that I said. I'd be like, I don't like that. I'm going to edit that out. And you might voice over something or whatever. And then let's see. There was another comment on here I thought was good. Here, Brian also, Castle Highs brings up another good point that I'm thinking about. He says, I've learned also that when I do a deep dive inspection, I don't always include every frame. Folks don't want to watch the boring segments. And Brian, I agree with that. And I think about that too, because like I'll speak for myself sometimes, and even like what you're talking about, Joey, you get to spots where you're walking back and forth and people are kind of hanging. You almost kind of like lose interest for a minute. You know what I mean? And I'm sure this probably that probably holds true for a lot of people, when it comes to that. But, you're always trying to create the best content you can for people. I mean, everybody on here is doing it for free, basically. I mean, there might be a couple that get a little bit of notoriety off it, but definitely not anybody's paying the bills off of this, So, all in all, I'd say you're probably really just trying to help folks out or let them understand your experiences or follow along with your journey.
The best part about making videos on YouTube, it's not the little bit of money that I make every month, which isn't very much at all. It's allowed me to meet so many other beekeepers. And if I hadn't have done YouTube, I probably would have even heard of the big expo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
That
was where Melissa. So we've watched Cayman Reynolds for quite some time now. Just always enjoyed it and actually learned a lot from him. I like his approach and I like the way he presents his information, honestly. And I've always felt like pretty much by and large, it was he'll just tell you what he thinks of it. Yeah. Like you're not really like specifically bought by somebody, I guess. So I don't know. I've always enjoyed that. And the first year that Cayman actually had that, which was that during COVID or right after COVID, I guess, basically, she was talking about going. She goes, I really want to go to this. And I'm like, I don't know. It makes me nervous in the middle of winter because I don't know when a snow episode is going to pop up or something that I have to be here for. And then I would have spent X amount of dollars that I maybe couldn't go,
Yeah.
Anyway, but so we didn't go that first year. But like you just said, Joey, I wouldn't have known about most of all these different conferences or even met 3/4 of the people that I have had it not been for these platforms that we're talking about right here. You guys putting out the videos and sharing different things and introducing to other new beekeepers that have some great content or some great experiences too. So that's really important.
Don't feel bad, Tom, because I watch these videos and somebody says, I've been to all 4 bee expos. And I go, no, you haven't. I've been to all 2 bee expos.
That's right.
No, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yep. You got it.
We're tied.
That's exactly right.
But you're talking about cutting stuff out of the videos. A lot of times I'll cut out busting the frame, breaking it and getting it loose. You may not can tell it a lot of times in there. I might have pulled on this end, then went to this end and tried to break it and it's not coming out, and I pulled up on it and it won't come, and I go back and break it again. But finally I got my tool right back in the same place it was. I might cut 30 seconds of breaking that frame out, and you might never know. Y'all will now because I'm telling you to look for it.
Right.
But stuff like that. Now I have on purposely left that in there just to show like beginners how hard it can be to break a frame after they've overwintered.
Yeah.
How hard it'd be to pull that frame out of there.
Oh gosh.
So let me ask you this, Joey. When you're editing, I catch myself doing this. You're like you're pulling the frame out and you're looking at it, and you might cut some of that time out because you probably spend way more time looking at it than you want to show people, especially when I come off the camera and I'm trying to get it up in the sunlight. I cut all that out and I'll put it back. But after I do a few, I'm like, I'm being deceitful. I hadn't shown me smoking these bees yet when I'm smoking them between every frame. So then I'll purposely put in me smoking the frame just to try to make it a little more.
Yeah. All you need to do is when you cut out and you go back to smoke again, just that last puff.
Yeah.
Just leave that last puff in there where they can see that you're smoking them, instead of 4 puffs or 5 puffs or whatever.
I like this comment that Jeff Jeffers puts up there at 8:07. He says, you guys need to make a bloopers video. And I agree with that.
I used to do it all the time.
Okay, so Joey,
I sometimes put them at the end.
Yeah. Joey, one of my favorite parts of your introduction coming into the live chats, and you probably know what I'm going to say. There's one part in that you and what?
Yeah.
You and Mike are on there when you had the camera and you pull that pull that entrance off of there, and
Yeah.
you're like, I better get back. I'm going to come after me. And then all you can't see anything, but all you can hear at that point is like, they're getting me. Oh, you better go get your camera. And I'm like, everybody, I guarantee in the audience is smiling and grinning with laughter because they know what that looks like and they know what that feels like, right? You get those colonies after you bounce them around, you pull the screen off, and they're looking for somebody to take that blame out on. And I don't know. Every time I hear that in the entrance, I'm chuckling in the background just listening to that, man.
So I had a first today. Noah and I went out and looked at some bees out at the out yard, and I'm letting him do a little more, pulling frames and doing the whole thing. So we both were. Usually, he's like got every inch covered on his body, and I'm like, well, if it's hot, I'm only going to have my face covered and a shirt, long sleeve shirt, and that. And I'm getting stung like crazy. Well, he got his first sting like a week ago, and he had a pretty decent reaction to it. His finger has the skin on his finger where it's stung, it's like peeling off. Yeah. So today we're there and he's covered up, and I'm thinking there's no way he's getting stung unless he like pinches one through those neoprene gloves. That happens every once in a while. Mm-hmm. And so all of a sudden he's like, ow! And one had crawled up his jacket all the way to his neck. Hit him right in the, those hurt, man. Those back of the neck ones, they hurt. It popped him good. And but this time, the last time he jumped up and down and acted like he had been shot, and this time he goes, I'm okay. And he's like, it hurts. So anyway, we went through 5 colonies. I didn't take one sting and he took one. So I chalked one up for the old man today.
Hey, how does that saying go? When you feel the sweat running uphill, it's not sweat. Yeah. It's me walking up. When it's going downhill, you're good. When you feel it going uphill, there's a problem. It's not sweat.
What's funny is I had one in my veil the whole time. It just never did. It either stung my jacket somewhere and didn't have a stinger, but man, it crawled all over my face. You get that one bee and it's just, it's not buzzing. It's just crawling. And you just want to reach up and touch because it tickles or itches or whatever. And that thing crawled like over my ear and down around, came up by my glasses and got over here.
And nobody knows what you're going through.
It was there the whole time, like a good 30 minutes.
She doesn't sting you the whole time, and the minute you go to remove her, bam, she nails you, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if this part will ever make the cut because I had so much trouble with my mic. I had several videos where I was having issues. I think I finally figured out my problem. But over in that Reagan yard, when I went back to check for sales, the first one I checked, the first mistake I found was the queen in the top when I knew I was supposed to push her down. And I really would like to show that video to show the rookie mistake I made when I was making the split versus what happened in the second video a week later. I may work on it somehow and just do, voiceover to get through it. But I'd made a mistake there. And then anyway, when I went back to check for sales, I found the queen upstairs when she's supposed to be down. So I pulled her and pulled a sail from the bottom, below the divider board, up in that top nuke, and going to let that make another queen. Anyway, I worked my way down, and I got to the end, and I found the queen over there, and I pulled her, and I went down and got me some sails and pulled up. And they had so many frames with sails, I said, I'll use one of these in that first hive. I don't know why I was thinking I still needed sail for the first hive. I'd already had one. So I pulled the frame out and went all the way back over there. And when I opened it up, I realized I saw my little error I'd made. And I realized I had a sail in there. So now what am I going to do with this? I done pulled it and closed that hive all the way back up. Mm-hmm. So that's just not thinking, getting old, getting tired. and just
Let me ask you guys if you've done this, and I'll even ask the people in the chat if they've done it, because I've done it at least twice. Have you ever gotten a queen out, marked her, put her in the cage or your little holder or whatever, set her off to the side, kept working bees, got to the end of the day, picked everything up and looked over there, and there it sits, and never did put her back in the colony? And luckily you noticed it right before you went and got in the truck.
I have done that before. I've done that with a whole frame, Philip.
Really?
I've done that with a whole frame and put it all back together. And I said, well, I need one more. I just get a new plastic, put here and close it all back up, put the lid on it, and start to grab my stuff. And there's a frame of bees and brood and everything sitting on the side.
Yep. Philip, if I do that for whatever reason, I need to get her out of the way. I'll pull her out, put her in a cage, clip it, and then I'll set her like maybe under the hive or just in the shade of that hive, so she's not out in the sunlight. Even if it's not like actual hot outside, I'll put her in the shade part of it. You go to doing it and you're going back through and I always try to make it a point to go back through every colony to double check if I left a hive tool, any equipment, frames, boxes, or anything left behind. And you go through and you're like, oh man, I left this one out. So you got to go back in, release her, put her back in, and hope that all life was well. But that's a real beekeeper problem.
I'm not the only one.
It happens, right? Yeah, those are all the good. Those are all the good times. The lessons that we learn the hard way.
My problem is I change my mind too much on what I want to do.
Yeah. I try now to not put them in. One time I did it and she was in my pocket. And I was like getting ready to go get in the car and I felt down. It's like, oh, shoot, that queen is still in my pocket.
Was there a pile of bees hanging on it? Like
No, nobody was bothering her. It was in one of those it had a little Velcro on it. So she was down in there. But now I try to remember. I just lay them on top of the frames as much as I can, just because.
Yeah.
That way I won't forget.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it can happen to the best everybody.
So, I was gonna show you guys. Last week, I guess, I started rebuilding. Remember those market shelves that I did for?
Oh yeah.
I started building those again. So, and I actually have sold one of them, and then I gave Brian Baker down at Baker's Bees in Baton Rouge. He made me some templates that I've been using, so they're going a little bit faster. But
yeah, I was going to ask you. So, do you have a different method of which to cut those notches out of the back of those 1-bys? Because isn't that a really time-consuming part of it?
It is. I've gotten that down to about less than about an hour, where it was about 2 hours. See if I can see. That's one of them that's bundled up.
Oh yeah.
I might when you guys get to talk about something else, I might put that one together and show you what. I made a couple of little changes to it too.
I like the fact how they it holds itself together without fasteners, so it's an easy setup, an easy tear down. And it conserves space within whether you're taking it to a market in your vehicle or whatever that might be.
Yeah, and I'm also offering it now with, this one's got 2-foot long shelves, but I'm doing 30-inch shelves and 36-inch shelves. The frame that holds it up is the same size, but it's longer shelves. Yeah, I'll move.
Brian at Flower Street asked when you're going to have the market shelves for sale on your website.
Well, I don't know about on my website, but they're for sale now. I've made enough I made like 8 of them so far, but I don't know if that's going to be.
Philip, if somebody wants to buy one, what's the cost, and will you ship them and all that good stuff?
Yes, the cost is $150. The shipping, I did a test to Brian and what's his name, Sean Booters. Mm-hmm. He bought one. So the cost of shipping, I'm putting it at $20, and I'm surprised it's that low, but for whatever reason, through pirate ship, UPS is like 60% off their normal price.
Oh wow.
Yeah, to send it down to Brian Baker, it was like $15.50, and to send it up to Sean was like $18.50. So right now I'm setting the price at $20, just because I, off to the corners of the country, who knows what it'll be, but so that's what it is, 150 and then 20 to ship. And then if you want the longer ones, they go up by $20 each. If you want a 30-inch one, it's $170, and if you want a 3-foot wide one, it's $190.
So Brian Zavada asked, "What is the cost if we want it autographed?"
Why would you want to ruin the value of it, Brian? I don't understand.
Oh, that added at least 10% to it, right?
Hey, Philip, can if a guy wanted to make one for himself, is that plan available somewhere?
Well, no, not really. I did draw it up on the computer, but I don't really have it. I don't have it presented in such a way that somebody could build it. You know what I'm saying? It's just laid out enough for me to cut my own pieces. Or actually, it was actually laid out enough to send the CAD file to Brian so he could cut the templates for me.
Philip said he'll sell a pattern of the shell for 10% more.
10%. Oh my gosh.
A pattern of every piece for 10% more.
That's like the pattern, Joey. That's like selling the rope they hang you with, buying the rope they hang you with.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'll tell you what, if you look at it, and it doesn't take long to figure out how it's done. If you want to make them for yourself, I would hope you wouldn't try to go into competition against me. But
Oh no, hey, don't have any time for that.
but after you make one or two, unless you come down to really trying to figure out the process. Of course, if you have a CNC machine or a laser cutter or something, you might could do it a lot easier than I do.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you had one of those CNC machines like Mr. Ed has there at the casket shop at the Abbey, you could knock those things out quick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure with a CNC machine you could make it go, because the thing that Brian made for me, he cut those on a water jet CNC, and they're plastic. 1/4-inch plastic, and after they started working so good, I'm like, man, what happens if I break one of these? I'm going to be out of business. So I immediately made myself 2 templates out of 1/4-inch masonite, and that's what I use now. And the templates he made for me are like the master templates.
Oh, I see what he did there for you. Okay, so you're just using them, you're tracing them out, then you go to cut them out.
Yeah, what you do is you trace it. Anybody that uses templates understands how this works, but you trace it and then you just cut close to the line with like a jigsaw, and then you take it to a router. You take your template and put it back on with double stick tape, and then you take it to your router and route the rest of it right up to routes right up to the line.
Okay, I gotcha. You're using the bearing on the router bit to follow along the contour.
And the only thing I have to, because I use a 1/4-inch router bit, the only thing I have to go back and kind of customize. Let me see if I can show you guys real quick. You see that 1/4-inch bit kind of rounds off in the corners. You can see that.
Yeah.
So that doesn't work. The one place where it has to be worked on a little bit is this foot piece. I have to go back in and work that, because when this goes together, and make sure I got the right ones. I mark them. I mark them. I don't know if you can see in there 3B and 3B. I go back in there and work on these and make sure that bottom part is perfectly flush.
Oh yeah, kind of squaring off the notches, basically.
Square it off, plus maybe cut a little bit out so it sits perfectly flat. Like, let me see if I can show you like that.
Yeah.
You don't want this wobbling at all. I'm gonna set the computer up on a chair a little further away, and you guys can watch me put it together. Y'all can talk about other stuff if you want.
Let's talk about Philip. Let's do that, guys.
Yeah.
Oh crap! He can still hear us.
It had stopped you before, Tom.
This is a conversation we've had a couple times before for anybody that does markets, and Brian's been involved in this a lot too. We talk about it. Having your table set up so that you create a little bit of depth and a little bit of height in there really makes a big difference for curb appeal for people. Actually, their eye catching your table. And Brian has a video, I think, or a couple pictures that he had done earlier on that I had asked and questioned, that he had his candle sitting out front, and the way the light was hitting his waxed candles, I mean, it really, like, I don't know, it just kind of, your eye was drawn to it and you couldn't help but you couldn't look away by seeing it. So, as you're passing by people's booths, and let's say there's 100 vendors there and you have something that catches your eye like that, you've got a little bit of depth created in there, a little bit of color difference. And I mean, let's be honest, we get difference of colors in the honey in there. That's pretty attractive in itself.
Philip, that is the same size you had at the expo, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Same thing.
The same thing, yeah. Out on the table where what do they call that thing? The
silent auction table.
Yeah, silent auction.
Yeah.
The thing I changed was I rounded off some places like this since I was using and just softened up some corners, so it's not as angular, I guess, as what was there.
Let's see that.
Let's see.
Now, how many tiers does that one have that you're displaying there? Is it 4?
It's got 4, yeah.
Okay.
And in the bottom one, I gotta get my rubber mallet. This is the first time this one's been put together, so you might see some growing pains.
Hopefully he doesn't break it, guys. then he has to buy it.
Well, I'm kind of waiting for it to fall over and knock the flower off the table.
That's very possible. So
I'm trying to see Santa Claus.
What's funny is Noah was knocking one of these feet in. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, he was knocking one of these in, and it did break because he was just hitting it too hard. So you can, if you just really give it a whack. But let's see here. But it's good to have a rubber mallet, but I would not use this one. This is a cheap one from Harbor Freight because it leaves black marks. You hit it with a glancing blow. I'd get like one of those orange ones, but let's give it a tap.
If they too tight, you probably could rub a little beeswax on it.
Oh,
yeah. The way it generally works, Joey, is it's real tight the first time you put it together, but after you take it apart and put it together a couple of times, it goes together really easy.
Yeah, it kind of wears itself. Like setting rings.
That sounds a lot worse than it is on this table.
We can't even hear it.
No. All right, I have one question now before we go any further. Over your left shoulder there on the door that's in the background, what's up with Santa Claus? I mean, it's like springtime for crying out loud. I can't unsee that, folks. I see a Santa Claus hanging in the back.
I've got a video I did like over a year ago, and that Santa Claus shows up in it. It's one of those, how you have things in your house that just have been there so long you don't even see it anymore? Yeah. That's it right there.
I hear you, man.
I didn't even know that was there until you pointed it out, Tom. Yeah, I'm going to try to back you guys up a little further because you still can't see. I needed to set my phone up, but I can't find my tripod. I think I might have left it out at the farm. My phone would have made a much better camera for this. Turn this light on too.
Hey, Brian, we've heard people ask that many of times too. Are those candles made out of honey? And then the opportunity arises for a little bit of schooling, right? It's like, well, funny you should ask.
Where it's going to get interesting is when I try to put the shelves in for the first time because they've not been put in.
Hey, DC, I agree. I think cedar would make a gorgeous stand. Get some nice eastern red cedar.
It's gonna be a real good angle. This is like Joey said, when you're making a video, everything's going to take longer because you're always worried about where the camera's pointing.
Yeah. Can you edit this now?
Try to get you a little bit of an angle there.
So, Philip, Darren, Pennsylvania Beekeeper's asking, he says, Philip, does Santa Claus talk to you? If he does, I'd be concerned.
Maybe. Like a Chucky doll over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Santa Claus kind of reminds me, anytime we pick our Christmas stuff up for the year, whatever gets left out seems to stay out.
Yeah.
Okay,
You're not
see.
wrong.
We got a question here. Let's see.
Yep.
Almost knocked the flower
Did
off.
we just nail him to
Right.
order?
Philip, can you see the screen?
Clay Bonners won't know if we just Zell you. You can Zell me. You can Zell me, and
Yeah.
Philip can send it to you.
Yeah, you can Zell me. Yes, you can Zell me, and even Noah even figured out how to put him on the credit card. He would have to help with that because I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, when we did that Christmas thing, I mean that Hives for Heroes deal.
Yeah.
All the money that was sent to me, I Zelled it to Philip. And
You still owe me you still owe me 6 cents, Joey.
6 cents. And I told my wife, I said, I'm going to send. Here's what happened. They wouldn't let me send it all. They would only let me send $200 at a time. So I had to send it, what, Philip, 3 times?
Yeah, I think so.
And I tried to send the last batch $200.06, and they wouldn't let it go through. So I had to take that 6 cents off. So I told my wife, I said, I'm going to send 6 cents and see what they say. And I never have done it. I need to try that tomorrow.
Don't worry about it. I had somebody else Zell me, and it was a big amount. It was for a pollination contract, and they were able to Zell me $2,000.
I think it's just whatever the local bank wants to do.
Yeah, they did. They did have to send me some more, but they were able to send me a good chunk at one time.
Now, see, that lady had told me that I couldn't go over 200, but I could do 200 twice in a day, 2 separate times.
That's weird.
But it wouldn't let me. I tried. Maybe it was 200 to you and 200 to somebody else, but it wouldn't let me send it to you twice.
Hey, Philip, so for people in the chat that might be interested, how wide is the shelving unit and how tall is it? You have 4 tiers there. How tall is that?
Yeah. Let me get a tape measure and measure it. Having a little issue getting that one in. What I do, by the way, I know y'all are watching me struggle with this, but before I sell them, I put them together like this. And anywhere I find that I think it's just too difficult or tight, I'll go in and work on those joints to make sure it's not too difficult. But and I'm gonna try to like this one looks fine to you guys, but there we go. Now let's see. Let me see if I can. So did I answer that question, Tom? You want to go do the height, right?
Just looking for both measurements. That's all.
Sure. I'll tell you what. I'll go get y'all's honey and put on it, and you can see how the honey jars sit on it.
I see what you're doing there, buddy. I see your angle.
Uh-huh.
Y'all got any pictures of your kids I can put on it?
I'll just send my kids over to your house and stay. How about that?
Okay.
One of them rammed my truck into somebody's back of their bumper yesterday. I'm not happy with them.
Huh.
So I know the width is 2 feet on this one, but like I said, I also sell them in 30-inch wide and 3 feet wide. And really, about half the cost in the wood is in these shelves. They're the wide pieces. And this is most expensive pine that Home Depot has. It's pretty expensive stuff. It actually comes from New Zealand. Okay, so the height back here in the back, the height to the top shelf is 18 and 19, just over 19 inches. And to that little nub that sticks up, it's about 20 and a half inches.
19 and one of them little lines.
Yeah, like an 1/8 inch, I think. Still trying to do this without knocking this flower off since Joey predicted. I made it wobble a minute ago. That's 25/8 tall, front to back. Now I designed this thing so it would work on a market table, which in my case is 30 inches. So at 30 inches, I think it's about 2 feet front to back, but I'll measure it in a second. At 30 inches, I think that's what this table probably is. This table's 28 inches that it's sitting on. But let me show you. Because what I wanted to be able to put product on the first shelf and then product on the table right in front of it. And the height is the same from the table to the first shelf as it is between the shelves. So you get 5 layers when you're displaying your product. Some of these risers, you'll see this shelf is real close to the bottom on the first one, so you can't really take advantage of your table in front. But this will sit on a 2-foot table if that's what you got. It's 22 inches front to back. But I think it sits nicely on a 30-inch table. It's just what most people have on those folding tables. Can't seem to get this angle of this camera to work very good. Hey, you guys know what I had for dinner? I know Tom's interested in that.
What'd you have?
I had peanut butter, half peanut butter and half Hell Hives honey.
Huh.
And then some chocolate chips smeared on a sandwich with a glass of milk.
Sounds like dessert.
Yep, sold me already. I'll take 2, please. Hey, Joey, I sent you a message in a private chat.
Oh, did you?
I'm not sure what's going on there, but just pay attention. I wonder if Philip can email those shelves out to people.
I'm not even seeing any private. Here it goes. It just.
That's about it.
Now here's the best honey for it to display right here. You see that? So, y'all see that one?
I can't see it. The light is overexposing it on the camera.
Okay, let me try to see if I can make that light a little indirect. This is probably in the chat.
That's Clay.
2B's Honey Farm. That's Clay, right? Leslie. It's Leslie's.
Yep.
That's right.
But the shells will hold about 3 deep of this style. It's like the Queen Anne 1-pounder.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just 2. Let me see. I got a few of those. This is the little 8-ounce jars. This is Dodd Houses. Let's see. This is Tar Heels.
That's some good stuff.
Yeah. Let me get another jar like that. Now, I think it'll hold 3 of those front to back.
Hey, Dad, are you still on here?
Tom,
Yep.
have you wrote anything? Hang on just a minute.
I wrote something in the private chat, but
Yeah.
it was taken care of, I think.
I fixed it. Are you a moderator?
Well, I thought so, but Melissa said that
You are.
yes.
I'm
But
trying to find one of your comments where I can make you a moderator.
That right there is what I had for dinner. Hell hive.
But you have to go on
And I had not. I think maybe he gave me some year before, but this one right here, I know I hadn't had because it still had the seal on it when I opened it.
No, you were a
Anyways.
moderator. He just doesn't know how to moderate, and I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Over there.
she said, I don't know what I'm doing here. I was just bringing something to your attention, but it's been
Well,
solved.
I fixed it. I'm glad
Yeah.
you saw it because I wasn't even really watching. I was reading something else.
No, all good. It was getting a little bit weird, so that's all. No big deal.
So yeah, it'll hold 3 of those little small ones, front to back. See what that is. Yeah, it's about 4.5 inches there. Now this is Russell Koopman's jars of cream honey. I don't know if he uses this style jar anymore or not, but it'll hold 2 of those. This is Brian Flower Streets. I only have 1 jar of it, but
I'm not sure who he is. Who's Brian Flower Street?
I don't know. This honey's starting to separate a little bit, so I think he probably needs to send me another jar.
Uh-oh. Well, I'm going out there this next Thursday, so
Oh, okay.
might come home with well, I shouldn't say truckload because we're flying.
Suitcase load.
Suitcase load. Make those attendants work for their money.
Okay, that reminds me. I was on somebody's chat, and they were telling me you can't check honey in your baggage because of the pressure is not regulated in the belly of the plane.
There might be some truth to that. I don't know that. It could be.
That'd be a shame.
I mean, if I was going to put it in there, I would probably put it in a Ziploc bag as well, just for extra protection, maybe. I don't know if that even make a difference or not.
So I don't know. I mean, they do ask you if you have any liquids and whatever, explosives or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe the people in the chat can.
I accidentally removed somebody, I think.
It was Philip. He's back though. What's up? What's up, Sandy's husband?
Hey, I'm an employee.
I was wondering if anybody else has had that issue when they're trying to fly with honey.
Yeah, good question.
Philip, I actually sent about 30 little 2-ounce honey bears with Alicia to Vegas for her conference with Remax, and everything went fine. She checked it.
She checked it, and she told him what it was and everything, I guess, right?
I don't know about that. She would have to put that.
Okay.
She said she did 2.5 ounce bears to Vegas, and it was all good. That's what. I'm gonna call her Sandy. I like that name better. That's what Sandy said.
I think she likes it at this point.
John Westcliff said, I checked 36 bottles and took them to Nabi last year. Paul says, I've flown with them even to Colorado where the pressure's lower than here. Sounds like all good.
It might not be a bad idea to put it in plastic, though, like a Ziploc.
Yeah. If you ever get honey from JW, he emails it out to everybody. Just send him your email and he'll get it out to you through email. Zapping all over the interwebs. So make sure he's not sleeping in the background.
How's JW? How you doing up there?
Can't hear you, got a banana in here.
This guy.
Matt's boss has entered the chat.
Oh, Matt's boss has entered the chat.
Yeah.
She's been in there. She's been in the chat.
Hey guys, I'm going to drop out. I'm going to keep listening. Philip, thanks for the demo. And I don't know, I might tinker around with that, see if I can come up with something. So I was actually thinking about scaling it down a little bit for something else. So, but anyway, thanks guys. I'll be listening.
All right.
Hey, Ben, take it easy,
Have a
man.
good one.
Hey, Joey, I'm going to try to go in on my phone too. Hopefully it'll be silent.
If you can pull that up.
Hey, Matt, do you see Brian's comment to you?
No.
He says, Matt, sure, send the contraband with the wife.
Yeah, got that right. Yeah, I'm no dummy.
Yeah, I see what you were up to, buddy. You were trying to gain an extra week. That's what you were trying to do.
Yeah,
I got your angle, man.
no, that was. I was working while she was gone. She knows it.
There we go.
That is a clear picture.
Oh, yeah, the picture's good. Oops.
Yeah, this is what I should have been using. I am getting an echo on my.
Uh-oh. I'm going to mute the phone.
Do that. Thank you.
There we go.
All right. That's much better. Oh, let's go check on the flower. It's still there.
Yeah, that's nice looking shells.
Really nice.
Yeah, there's about $52 worth of lumber in it.
Now, you're using all select pine, correct?
It's called Home Depot calls it Select. Yeah.
Yeah, that means it's not free. It's going to be nice and crisp and straight. None
It
of
doesn't
that
have any.
lumber.
It doesn't have any knots. Now, some of it is bent, but I go through it and make sure I get the very best that they have.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll go to a couple of different Home Depots just to make sure I get nice pieces. And it's unfinished. I would recommend, at the very least, the ones that I use for my market, I'm probably going to do some like tung oil and see how that works.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep it natural. But you could stain it and seal it or whatever. Yeah. I wouldn't paint it. The wood's just too pretty to paint, I think.
Santa's still good. That's what Paul says.
There's Santa back there.
He is. He's still hanging tough. Uh-oh, Matt, you better look out. Sandy's in the chat saying all of a sudden I'm needing a new shelf.
Uh-oh.
She's going to be zelling out $100 and something bucks out of your account, man.
Hey, right, it's going to a good cause. I know it.
Yeah.
I know Philip does a good job. So
I don't want you.
Carpenter to another. I can tell.
I don't want to put any pressure on you, but Sean Booters bought some for his wife. Andy bought some earrings with him.
Oh, boy.
Appreciate you.
Oh, gosh.
I know Alicia's not listening right now.
I see his tactic. He's using the guilt one. Yeah, it's a low blow. I mean, he's supposed to be our friend, Matt, and he's low blowing us. So Clay in here says he'll take two, Philip. I think what he's going to do, he's going to take one for himself and ship the other one to me. I'll get him my address out right away. Get that squared up.
That's awesome.
Hey, Clay, go ahead and sell him a couple more for me.
That'll hold a lot of product.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. You still got room in front on a regular table, probably, to put your bottle.
It's the exact same. Yeah, on a 30-inch table, you'll have that. At least this much room, but it's the same height there, so you're going to get a nice rhythm going from the bottom to the top with your height,
and plenty of room to hide extra stuff up under it.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'll put my cash box up under there.
So
but
Philip, Brian
stable.
brings
it's not. See, I'm sliding the whole thing, so
yeah,
I don't think you have to worry about somebody bumping it and knocking it down.
Pretty sturdy. Brian brings up a pretty good point here, Philip. He says now you need a brand to put his logo on his work.
Yeah, I do need that. You're right about that.
I'll tell you, those branding irons are really cool. I have wanted one for a couple of years, but I have not made the plunge because I want an electric one. And I mentioned something to Melissa that probably the last 3 years I haven't done it. But who knows? Maybe someday I will.
I will tell you that using that template and that router, it's you get to a couple of spots on these things where it gives you some problems. When you get to like the end grain, anybody's done woodworking, but like see right there's a little booger right there where it chattered on me. A little bit rough right there. Anywhere you go around and hit end grain, you might get some little checks in there. See, there's a little bit of checking in there. We try to sand it out the best we can, but.
Are you singing with the dog, JW?
Yeah.
I hear him.
Right here, see, because it went around the end grain, it chipped a little bit there. So yeah, I'm not saying they're perfect, but I don't think anybody. Let's see.
They gonna get hauled and beat around and everything anyway.
Right. There's a little. You can see where it dug in a little bit right there. And we don't spend a whole lot of time sanding them. We sand them down mainly to take the sharp edges off, so they just feel good in your hands. I had a lady contact me just by chance today. I don't know what happened, but she had seen them at Nobby and said she was wanting like 4 to 6 of them. So I sent her back the price. Hadn't heard back from her yet. Maybe she still wants it. I don't know.
Oh, where did you get yours? He's got the propane torch. When he heats with the propane torch. The brand.
Yeah, I've looked at those. What do they go? Those small electrical ones are like $75, aren't they? Real small ones.
I don't know.
But anything big gets into the several $100s.
Amazon came from China, I think.
But when he says propane, does he just mean he heats it up with a propane torch? It's just a piece of metal?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have to get him to demonstrate it sometime, see how it turns out.
All right. Well, I'm going to turn this one off, Joey.
Okay.
How about that fireplace mantle back there, too? Y'all like that? It's a long time ago.
Looks good.
Can you ship me one of those for $150, please?
No. I kind of want to tear this out and put in a wood burning stove. So if I do that, Tom, I'll sell it to you cheap.
See, Tom, he took his
all that time work too. I used to have time before I messed with bees to do stuff.
Yeah, used to have.
What's that, Matt?
I was saying Philip took his stockings down for you.
Oh man, put them back up. It'll go with the Santa Claus deal.
I'll guarantee you, Matt, it wasn't me that took them down. They'd still be up if it was up to me.
Yep. Tell the kids to put them back up. Get Noah.
I'm going to get on to him for embarrassing me with Santa. I was like, why are you leaving Santa up over there? All my friends are calling me out.
Hey, I love it, man. That just shows the house that's lived in. That's a home. That's what that is.
Right.
We knew Philip was in a different time zone, but we didn't know it was that far back.
Yep. Well, hey, Joey, in that case, Philip owes me a Christmas present. Shift the mantle tomorrow, please. Yeah, hey, Philip, we'll have to get you some orders together. You can bring a whole truckload to Nobby.
Get out of this.
Or maybe we could get him to come to the Eastern Missouri thing and bring some of those cool shelves.
Yeah.
We think, Melissa?
Yeah, there we go.
Texas and Missouri, they're not that far away. It's basically just like when you look at it on the map, it's only 2 inches.
Yeah, y'all need to. Everybody puts these conferences way away from me. I don't know what it is. They're probably trying to send me a message.
Texas is not that far away from Missouri.
Philip, you see that fireplace?
Hold on a second.
Nice.
My screen went blank. Trying to.
Oh,
Here we go. Yeah, there it is. Yep.
That's not cherry, is it?
kind of an old picture. Yeah.
Cherry wood?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Me and my wife and my two boys, when they were still home in school, built that from top to
Nice.
bottom.
So what's that little ornate work that's right above the fireplace itself, below the mantle itself?
Right here? Well, you can't see that.
Yeah, I can't. Right above the bronze thing, in between that and the top mantle.
Yeah, there's a little
itself.
scroll or something there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
there's
carving.
several pieces of trim. My wife bought that somewhere, and we just put it all together,
Oh,
or cut it and fit it in there.
yeah.
But it was
That's
just
nice.
different pieces of trims and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's good.
My mantle is made from an old pine tree that my father-in-law cut down in his backyard. Of course, they were like 3 foot diameter and 60, 70 feet tall pine trees that he had cut, and he hired somebody to come in and mill it down. So I took that, and there's rough cut pine, and it's got a stain and sealer on it.
Philip, you could almost run different lines of lumber, in different price tiers, like
Yeah.
walnut or that shelf and an eastern red cedar with an
Oh
oil
yeah,
kind would be.
Yeah.
dude, that'd look amazing.
So not that those shelves didn't look nice. I'm just saying, but different wood.
Yeah, this wood is about it's probably 30% higher than what they call premium, which has some knots in it.
Mm-hmm.
That white wood.
Yeah.
And it's probably about 30 or 40% cheaper than the poplar.
Mm-hmm.
It's considered poplar's considered a hardwood, I think. So it's like the softest hardwood. I haven't looked at the price of all their oaks and maples, and to be honest with you, I don't want to deal with maple.
Yeah.
That thing will burn right through my router. The maple's hard.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be sanding saw marks out of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've used maple and trim on a few things, and it's been like,
It burns.
yeah. I'd have to increase my labor costs too, just for dealing with it.
Mm-hmm. When I was at Menards the other day, I got some of the. I didn't get the select. I got the premium 1x4 and pine, and I think the select was like $4 and something for an 8-foot section, and then the premium was, and then the select, like you got there, that was a lot more expensive. I think I would say that was up around like $7 something, I believe it was, for a 1x4, an 8-foot section of 1x4. And like you said, that doesn't have any knots in it whatsoever.
Yeah, this wood here was it's like $9.97 or something for the 1x3, which is the legs and the feet.
Mm-hmm.
Now the stringer on this thing is a 1x4, and I think it's like $13.97 for an 8-foot piece. And then the 1x6, which the shelves are made of, there it's like $24 and something per 8-foot piece.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it all comes out to about $52 after taxes.
Good lumber's not cheap anymore.
No.
And I never have bought that kind of lumber before myself, because I usually take the cheaper and try to just keep working it until it looks decent.
Mm-hmm.
But when I made the shelves for Cayman for the honey show, I priced it on the Home Depot site. We talked about it. Then when I got to the store, I started sending him pictures. Hey, this is what you get for this price, and this is what you get for the other price. And I was telling him, if you're going to paint them, I would just go with the cheaper wood.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, this other wood it is so nice.
Yeah.
And he said he's not normally one that spends a lot, but he thought the same thing. He said that's probably worth it to not deal with. And after he bought that, I was like, I'm so glad he did, because it is so much easier to work with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just It's really it cuts and finishes real nice.
Yeah. Yeah, Paul, you're not wrong. That is why Sawmill Charlie has a smile on his face. Charlie premium prices. And poor Charlie can't even defend himself here right now, right?
I haven't seen him comment, so I don't know if he's here.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have by now.
One thing I would say though, Philip, on if customers wanted to paint those, I'm sure you're making those joints super tight. That would probably start getting those shelves a little difficult to install. You know, if they
Yeah, I
were
would-
to take it all apart and paint it and then try to assemble it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That if you've got too much coating, because I want the joints to be reasonably tight. Now, like I told you before, once you put them together and pull them apart,
Yeah.
they tend to, become a little looser.
Sure.
So I want them starting out good and tight.
So, adding paint to like doors and just doing that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Construction, it's paint layers take up space, for sure.
If I wanted these to be a color, I would get an opaque stain. I wouldn't do paint. Some out of pressure treated.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Pressure treated once it dries out starts to twist all over the place.
What he needs to do is make that really nice, and you just do a little light wax dip, just for coating, not for penetration, just for a little coating on there.
Cayman said he was going to think about trying to wax dip the ones that I made for him.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in seeing how that worked out.
That'd preserve it. You wouldn't have to worry about absorbing if any honey spilled on it or any dirt, debris, fingerprints, any of that stuff. It'd keep them fairly pristine,
Yeah.
Tom or JW, have you guys, Tom, I know you've been busy, but have you gotten into your bees recently or seen? I think JW, you mentioned you haven't either, but they're picking up momentum from what I noticed today for sure.
Hey, let me just answer Russell's question real quick. It's kind of like what you said before, Matt, but yes, Russell, I would stay away from paint and I would stay away from a varnish because both of those are going to build thickness. If you wanted it stained, I would say if you wanted it stained a solid color, just use an opaque stain. And then I would come over that with something like a tung oil or a penetrating oil that would keep all the moisture out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I would handle it. And you might could take paint and do like a wash, just water it down and put it on there. You'd get a little color, but you'd see the wood grain too. You could do a wash and it
That'd be
wouldn't build.
pretty cool though. I think that look would be nice. Almost kind of like a whitewash where you can still see the grain through it.
Right.
That'd look pretty good, I think. Sky's the limit on the finishes, right?
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joey, after watching your double screen, some of your videos that have come out, it inspired me. I knew I was going to do my splits the same way, but we have some queens coming in, and I went ahead and did some double screen board splits today. Got the queens in the bottom and intentionally made them, took our first round of splits basically to make our first nuke sales. So
Yeah.
I appreciate your videos,
Thank you.
Oh, Matt, you're one of those guys that gets the early nukes out and makes us all look bad, huh?
No, I don't know about I'm going to lay them. We're actually the first round. We're getting some mated queens in. And I'm going to let them lay for at least 3 weeks. And so I'm not promising any nukes till at least the end of April. The weather depending.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm going to have to push mine back. I was trying to say 1st of May, middle of May, and this year everything's so late. I think I can split. This morning I found a good bit of cat brood. One colony had quite a few drones walking, but I couldn't see. What was weird was they were older drones, and I couldn't see anything in between. I didn't see any emerging drones I even scraped away and didn't see any purple eyes. They were fully developed, but their eyes hadn't started turning. I don't know I don't know enough about them to know how long. I would imagine that the purple-eyed stage is going to be just days away.
I believe so. Yeah, it's not far. I hadn't seen any walking drones yet. I had a couple that flew by me going into the hive. They sounded like a helicopter coming by me, so I could, turn to notice them fly in. But lots of drone brood today from the inspection, so they've shifted a gear, for sure. It's been pretty cool at night. So we're out of the low 30s, we're into the 40s, and almost high 40s for average lows now. So
it was 32
kind
here
of
yesterday.
What's that? I'm sorry.
It was 32 degrees here yesterday morning.
Oh yeah, we'll still dip down.
I think it was yesterday.
I'll have all my insulated covers on, and that's why I want to take these first round of splits over double screen boards. Even though I got made at Queens coming, I'm still gonna rate on double screen boards just to. That way, hopefully, by the time I have to sell them, I can pull those nukes off and have some other resources to start my grafting rounds. Is a plan. So, trying to make the girls work this spring. That's for sure.
Yeah,
so
Paul,
Paul's gonna
I hate cleaning up after wax moth damage too.
He's going to make me drive to my office and get that paramoth that I know is there. I thought I had some here, but I went out today to try to get some and put it on top of my stacks, and I couldn't find it. And it's gone. It still smells like paramoth in there, but it's gone. So, I cannot get to the last couple of weeks before I put those supers on and lose this comb. So I'm probably driving to the office to pick that up and bring it home and put it on there.
Hey, Philip, Clay Boner has a comment. Philip, how do I contact you?
Okay. Let's see. Joey, can you put my phone number, or I can go to the YouTube and put it in there. Let me just do that. I'll put my phone number in there. Just text me, Clay. Or call me.
Apparently he's in a different time zone because it's Christmas where he's at. So wait to do it until 1:00 a.m. your time. Send him a phone call. If he doesn't answer, just keep calling because that's what he wants. Okay.
That's right.
Oh, now I have Philip's number. I can prank him.
Yeah. Well, just get in line if you want to spam my phone.
I've had your number for months now.
If I didn't get spam, I'd probably be lonely.
When they spam you, did you talk to them for a while and just chat with them, tell them how lonely you are, and ask them to hang on the phone?
What's funny is, that the thing that got me on this path of making these shells, you guys remember we were on Joey's show and Cayman came on, and I was just building those shelves for market. And then he said he was going to call me the next day. So the next day I'm sitting at my computer working, and I got a spam risk call. And I usually just look at it and then just keep working. I looked at it and it said Tennessee on there. And I went, no, it can't be. I answered, and that was him. So his number came up as spam risk. And I guess it was back then he was probably making 20 or 30 calls a day for the conference. So they flagged him as spam because he makes so many calls going out. So I had to save it.
Good thing you answered.
I used to have an app on my phone, something like robocall or I don't forgot what it was now, but you could have all kind of different voices answered the phone when it was actually notified by their app that it was a spam call, a spam number, and you could set that like Donald Trump or any of the presidents or anybody, or just anyway. I had it set up where when somebody would call and detected that it was spam, it would say hello. And then when that person started talking, it'd be just enough to gap say, "Who is this?" And give them just enough time to answer that. And says, "How did you get this number?" Anyway,
That's cool.
it detected one time, and you get to listen to it. It records it, and you can go back to your app and listen to it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But I got a call one time, and I was listening to it as right after it went through it, and it was a lady trying to rent a mini storage room from me. I had to call her back and apologize and told her what happened. After I told her, she's a good sport about it. She got a good laugh out of it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
I know what app you're talking about because they had like Arnold Schwarzenegger on there
Yeah,
and all kinds of different famous people that you could. Well, there's even maybe it wasn't the same app I'm thinking of, but you could also when you called somebody, you could click on different sayings that person would say, like "Hello, how are you?"
Yeah.
What do you want? What do you just different little phrases that you could click on it and it would say it in that person's voice. That's hilarious, though.
But I took it off. I said after that, I said somebody might get mad at me and I lose business. But
yeah. Oh boy, that's hilarious, man.
That's funny. Yeah, I try to talk. When the computers call me, I try to talk to them and interrupt them. They don't hear anything that they're not asking for a response for. So you can just like, hey, could you just be quiet for a minute? And let me get a word in, and they're just going through that computerized spiel.
Yep. That's right.
If they know Jesus, I like that. I always like the ones I get where you can't hardly hear them because of all the other phones in the background calling other people.
Yeah.
And I always mess with them. I go, I can't understand you. You got too many people around you. Can you tell all those other people to be quiet?
I've got spammers calling me with local numbers.
Yeah, they do that. They've got a computer that does that for them.
Yeah, and they're telling. Well, I don't forgot what they call that name. But anyway, they act like that they're Google, and they want to tell me that my raw apiaries is not correctly registered with Google.
Yeah.
I just tell them I don't need it fixed. Thank you. Hang up.
Yeah.
That ought to be against the law.
Yeah, I think they call that cloning or something like that.
Yeah.
And it won't even show up as spam. It'll show up as a local number.
Yeah.
I guess if you block that number, you block somebody else, or have you blocked them? I don't know.
I really don't know, but they probably buy a whole block of those numbers, and they just go call from another one.
Yeah, they do. You'll get 10 jillion of them. I'd block every one of them. Once they ring me, I just automatically block them.
I've been trying to call you for months, and it keeps going to keeps kicking me out.
That's one of them. That's the star block one.
What if I call through Matt's number? What if I spam you through Matt's number? Will I get through?
Yeah. Yeah.
Spoofing. That's it. Spoofing.
Spoofing. Yeah.
I get spoofed a lot then.
Yeah.
Good night, Keith.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Good night.
Hey, Tom, I bet you're worn out, buddy.
Oh man, I'm tired. I'm about ready to go to bed, fellas.
Yeah, that little bit that I helped with yesterday I knew that I did a little bit.
Yeah.
Or I could just tell by, the end of the day, it wears you out a little bit for sure.
Yeah, it's really not like hard work. It's just fairly consistent. It's you get moving, going through it, and you sit down and wait for a handful of minutes, or you do some other things to kind of prep or to get ready, and then do that. again,
Yeah.
get back to it. Keep setting your timer and keep going from there.
Yeah, just even having it on your mind that the timer's going, you got to pay attention to this and that. It wears you out, especially 2 days of it.
Yeah.
All you need to do is do like I did today. Get tired and came inside, put on Fred Dunn, and took about a 30-minute nap.
Well, you poor old guys, you just make me feel so sorry for you.
Sit in your truck and listen to Fred Dunn for
Just
30
get
minutes.
so
and you'll be all
tired.
good.
You can add both your ages together, you two dirty side guys, and you can't catch up to me.
Hey, we're just not made from the
How
same
tired
grit.
you are and how hard you work. I know.
We're ready to come out there and go to work again. I know that.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, I don't think we're made of the same grit that JW is made from. Not sure what that stuff is, but that stuff in Illinois ain't right.
No.
Yeah, that's for sure. Thank God.
Hey, Paul, you're not wrong. When I went to go take a shower tonight, you know, I am waterproof. All the water just bead right off me. Didn't even make a difference. Soap wouldn't even cut it. Just dipped myself in the wax.
Use Dawn.
Hey, Matt, you know what I did? You know that sweatshirt I was wearing yesterday that had wax all over it? I wore the same one today as so not to ruin something. When I took it off today, I just threw it in the container and I closed everything up and I drove home.
Yeah.
And then my pants, I have them standing up in the corner over there. I think they walked up and down the hall a couple of times too. They're all waxed up.
That's awesome. Yeah, just keep for next year. You know,
That's what I was thinking about doing. I might just fold them up and throw them up there in the container, and I'll just use them again because they're a pair of Carhartt pants. They're not in bad shape. So, Melissa, do we have a video on the wax dipping thing?
On Facebook, not on YouTube.
Roy, I don't think we have a YouTube video of that. I think Melissa put something on. We don't have something on YouTube, but I think she said we have something on Facebook. So if you go to Via Honeybee's Facebook page, you'd have to scroll back, and I'm not sure where it was at in there. I think there's something on there. Okay, so Steve, how long do I wax dip them? So I'm using the Hive Guard stuff out of Canada now, and I have been using it for a last couple years, I guess it has been. So probably most of that original blended waxes I was originally using, which is a paraffin microcrystalline dip, is probably diluted down, way down, or halfway out of there. Anyway, so they say to do it for 3 minutes, but I'm actually doing it for 6. And I'm just doing
what most people I know is doing it 6.
Are they? Okay. Originally, when I was first dipping equipment, I was doing it for 15 minutes, but I wasn't doing it at that 300 to 330 degree mark. 340. I was only doing it like 275, 285, I think it was. But since we started using this,
You're dipping them for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, we were dipping it for 15 minutes with that at that temperature. But now I dip again. I try not to let it get below 315, but it's up between 315 and fluctuates maybe up to 330 ish, depending on conditions and all that good jazz. And I'm doing it for 6 minutes. And when you look at the end grains where you're noticing the bubbling definitely starts to settle down after, I don't know. It doesn't start right up because it has to heat that wood up. And then after usually less than a minute, you really see the pores start to push that moisture out of there. And you see it kind of, that little bubbling effect from the end grain areas. And it's pretty much subsided by about that time. So I feel like it's probably done I don't know. I feel like it's done what it's supposed to do. I mean, I'm not a chemist, so I'm not going to pretend, but that's what I've been doing in 6 minutes. DC, we don't advertise that as something as a form of what we do as far as a service that we're selling. To be honest with you, I really don't want to do it.
Do you notice any issues with any of your plywood delaminating when it's in the hot wax?
Okay, so on that, on all those double screen boards I did, no, they're I don't think they're here. I don't remember where I put them. Anyway, I had on that interior 3/4 inch plywood, 98% of it was fine, but I had a couple of them that were already somewhat, not really delaminated, but some of the plies were kind of somewhat missing a little bit, which will kind of happen. And I had 2 of them kind of start to delaminate. And I was checking them after I pulled them out of that, that hot dip for a while. And I'd check them to make sure they hadn't warped or cupped or anything. And there was only like 2 that I found that cupped just a little bit. I mean, probably less than an eighth. I guess I do have. So I'll show you this one. This is one that did delaminate.
Mm-hmm.
It's still connected down there, but it did kind of, it had a poor lamination already. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to squeeze a bunch of glue in there. I don't know if it'll work. It's just a trial. I'm going to squeeze a bunch of glue in there, and then I'm going to clamp it on the sides around my rim. And then I'm probably going to run some narrow crown staples in there to hold it. And as long as it'll sit flat, I'll use it. If it doesn't, I'll just probably toss it. So
I doubt if it's going to stick because it's been wax dipped.
That's kind of what I was wondering too. I don't really have experience with doing it, but I was kind of wondering that. Philip.
It looks like where it delaminated, you could use some. The problem with the crown staples, you're only going to go from half to 3/4, so you can put 3/4 inch staples, and I bet you can just.
I would suggest that.
Well, actually, use a 1.5 inch staple around the edges, and then some 3/4 in the middle.
Yeah, I could. Well, I was using 1 1/4 inches on the side. That's what I was doing. All the staples that are in here, those are 1/4 inch by 1 1/4 narrow crown staple. And I mean, I've got the Type Bond 3 glue on there.
Yeah, if you do the same thing from the top, well, I would go more than 1 1/4. I'd go 1.5 inches.
You're saying stapled on the edges. So that's what you're suggesting to me, right?
1.5 inches there, but even out in the middle, I would throw a few 3/4 ones in the middle.
Yeah, I could do that. Just come in at an angle so they don't poke through. I guess even if they poke through, it wouldn't really matter much, would it?
It wouldn't matter much. They're not going to poke through much at all.
Yeah.
Pop rivet that thing.
I mean, at this point, I've got nothing to lose, right? Because right now it's kind of useless because you can see it's kind of bowed a little bit.
Yeah.
You can kind of see that.
I got one that bowed. I saved it for last in case I needed it, but it bowed.
I don't know. It's no big deal. I got $4 in material in each one of them, so I'm not worried.
You got some Gorilla Glue that you wet it first with Gorilla Glue, it'll hold it, even after it's wax dipped. I mean,
it's worth a try. I mean, I'm not going to lose anything. So DC, I don't dry the boxes. I mean, that lumber should already be dried. I'm guessing there's some lumber guys in here that can probably correct me if I think I'm wrong, but I'm guessing it's probably under 12%, maybe even under 10%. The one thing I can notice is and I would caution anybody that does any wax dipping or what have you, is I left in my tank, it's a 24 by 24, and I think I've got 28 inches of wax in the depth of it. But I left in my tank, I built the tank deep enough that I've got 9.5 inches of head space before it hits the top of the rim. So obviously the more moisture that's in the wood, and when it bakes out, that translates to foam on top of the liquid surface itself. So if it gets to where it foams enough because you have enough moisture content in there, it'll foam over. I had it happen twice to me. There was no detriment to it. I just cut the gas feed off to it, let it finish off. Well, you lose some wax, but it was from one guy. I went ahead and agreed to dip 90 pieces for him that he had put eco wood on, which I told him not to. I did for him anyway. And I think that extra added moisture caused a problem. And the second time I had any issue was I had some rain starting one day that I was wax dipping. I had everything sitting on the trailer. So I took and threw a big tarp over it, and it kind of lightly rained for a little while. But I think even though that tarp's not perfect, it let a little bit of moisture in there. And I noticed a little bit of a higher moisture content coming out of the wood at that point. So that's the only thing I would caution anybody on, but I've never had any other real problems with it. So that's just my experience. Just keep wood really dry from the factory. Don't let it out in the rain. I mean, if you're in a really humid area like you might be, DC, I'm not sure how to translate or how to navigate that or what to say. Why would you? You're commenting on there. I can't concentrate on two things at once.
You have since I'll give you a little hint, a little trick you could probably do. It helps me. I've got,
That's a good
and
question.
it's just an odd color that I don't use a lot, but you've got wax dip boxes and you got wax dip double screen boards. Get you some spray can paint since they're wax dipped, and spray the edges of those double screen boards where when you're riding through your apiary, you can see that color in there, and it lets you know you've got a double screen board in there because it kind of disappears when everything's same color.
That's a good idea. Melissa and I have done that with any of our top feeders or things like that.
Yep.
So, like for example, if I drive to an apiary and I want to know what boxes I put comb supers on, so we almost always run double deep brood box. So if I see a deep box, that's my brood chamber. If I see a medium, that's for my liquid honey. If I see a shallow, that's for my cut comb. If I see black in there, that's either a feeder shim or depending on the height or the depth, a feeder shim, or it's a box for my hive top feeders, which are pretty self-explanatory. And we've actually painted all those black, like you're saying, Joey, so you can pick it out when you're driving through the apiary.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely a good information.
So this one says it absorbs 30 grams of wax per full deep box.
So Carl has a question there. Says, okay, Dom, do you have any idea after buying all the wax what the cost per box is for wax? The first year I did it, I tried to somewhat calculate out how much I used and then how many pieces I dipped. So it kind of put me on the page. I don't remember specifically what that was. And what were you saying, Melissa?
I Googled how much wax is a pine box absorbing wax dip, and the Google said 30 grams.
So Melissa's saying she Googled it. So for whatever that's worth.
JW, you know that's right.
I was waiting for him to come up with a comment or shake his head on it because I knew it was becoming. Matt beat him to the punch, though.
350 rounded, I can tell you.
Say that again.
350 rounded, give or take 350.
You're saying cost, not how much wax, right?
I'm talking cost.
Okay. Do you recall how many ounces that was, or?
Pardon me?
Do you recall how many ounces of wax each one absorbs?
No, not offhand.
The Google answer, Melissa.
Actually, it depends on the conditions and the moisture in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, I would say that's variable.
It'll vary, you know, and you can't vary. You know, you wax dip a little bit of everything, some older stuff and some. I even wax dipped a bunch of stuff that I had that I'd eco wooded, you know, here a couple of years ago. Just that makes a pretty nice product, actually.
When JW doesn't know the answer, I just always go and ask Google.
Google.
Don't it stop foaming when the moisture's cooked out of the boxes?
Yeah, pretty well will, Joey. Yeah. Yes. But you want to have plenty of wind if it's got a lot of moisture, and the humidity in the air, you know, how long that where it's laid out there, where it's been stored at, you know, makes a big difference.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I know Greg Burns has told me specifically exactly how much it's between this and this, and I can't remember now what he said, how many ounces he said each one. For some reason in my head, I want to say 4 to 6 ounces, but I could be off.
That's Carl was saying a quarter and a half a pound of wax per box. It won't. I don't.
No way is that much.
Maybe that might be close, Carl.
That much
wax. Depends on your mixture, also. I mean, that Canadian stuff's already pre-mixed. I don't know what the ratio is on it, or the crystalline to the actual wax solution either. I mix mine 50-50. I get all mine from Aztec down there in Knoxville. and have for good years. I've never switched over to the Canadian stuff.
How many ounces is 30 grams?
Yeah, I would. For some reason, Steve says, Carl, I've heard somewhere between 1/4 and 1/2 pound of wax per box. That seems like familiar for me. So you're looking at what, 4 ounces to 8, 4 to 8 ounces per box. So I mean,
I don't know. The Google says 30 grams, which is 1 ounce.
yeah, I've heard more than that.
So I don't know.
That'd probably be, I'd say 1/2 would be closer, but I don't know that. 8 ounces, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
You go through quite a bit of wax. You go through,
Mm-hmm.
a couple of 300 pieces at a time. Well, you go through,
Mm-hmm.
I'll go through those big blocks. I'll go through 3 of them probably, replace it for about every 100. Now I'm just talking generalities and guesses, folks, because I don't keep track of that stuff.
Now, are you talking about the 10-pound blocks, JW? Is that what you're referring to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. And
blocks like it comes from Aztec, if you've ever seen those, that's, I think they're 20s. I don't know. I'd have to weigh one to even tell. I've got some still. I keep some extras, but you buy it by the as Bracken was saying about the HDO. It's you like it, but your billfold doesn't. Pay for that stuff. It's very expensive.
JW, I asked him what he paid for it last night. I texted him on it, and it was the same as you and I had spoke about before.
Yeah.
Same price. Roy has a question for you, JW. He's interested to know what the high melt point on the paraffin you buy from Aztec is. You recall?
I know what the flash point is on it. It will flame if you get it up there. Supposedly, the straight wax will go at 280 if I remember correctly. You want to be awful careful with the way I do it. I do all mine at about 240 to 260, and I do it for 15 minutes. I still don't think. I'll be honest with you. I don't think even with that Canadian stuff, for 3 or 6 minutes is long enough. But it may if it gets totally boiling, maybe that's. I don't know. I've never used it. That sounds like an awfully short period of time to me.
Well, keep in mind that has to be up in like 300 and something. I can't remember. I want to say 320-ish, somewhere in there. There was a range that you had to be up to in order to do that short of a dip.
If you run your,
if I understand right, no, you don't start, your boxes don't start absorbing the wax until you pull it out, right? When it starts cooling down, it draws it in there.
That sounds about right based upon what I see, because when you see the bubbles, it's actually expelling at that point. But as soon as I pull it up out of the wax, you can watch it, and it takes seconds, and you watch it go from a shine or a wet look to almost a dry look. And that has to be the absorption on it, right?
There's one guy I know, he says he actually dips them twice. He'll do it, pull it up, and let it draw some of that wax in. Then he'll go back in for just a little while and come. I don't remember how long. It wasn't 6 minutes again, and then pull it back up again, and he's getting a little bit of absorption in there.
So you're going to have to allow the wood to heat up until the pores open up, right? So it's going to take some heat. It's going to take however much time for that wood to actually heat, and then those pores will open up. And at that point, I'm guessing all that moisture starts to run out of the pores easily then, and then it's displaced with the wax. Now, how that works specifically, that's a good question.
Jed Thorne, because I asked that question on the Cayman's Bee group.
Can anybody hear Melissa right now? Can you hear her?
I asked the question about how much wax does a deep box absorb on the Cayman's Beekeeping group on Facebook last year. And Jed Thorne answered 0.39 pounds per deep box with Hive Guard.
0.39 pounds per deep box with the Hive Guard wax.
It'd be 39. That'd be a little over a third of a pound
Yep.
for deep
And then
box.
Greg Burns down
Greg
below.
Bird says, like I said,
Greg Burns
Different
says
color.
down below 2 to 8 ounces per 10 frame deep. So
Say that again. I think he's
Greg Burns also commented 2 to 8 ounces per 10 frame deep.
this was a comment made back when?
August 2020 or April 2024.
April 2024. That's what Greg Burns was, said anywhere between 2 to 8 ounces.
And Jed said 0.39 pounds.
And Jed said 0.39 pounds. But I would still be with the understanding of what JW said. It's going to depend.
Yeah.
I think it's variable. The type of wood, the heat that it reaches, how much moisture's in it, probably the atmosphere around it. I can only imagine have factors that play into that.
Yeah, depending on the grain work and the pattern of the grain, the grain's the
yeah,
thirsty
I've
part.
foamed it over many times. I got it. If you get it flaming, you got yourself a problem. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I caught it on fire.
You have?
Yes, a time or two. Yes,
I've
I
never caught it on fire. So
Yeah.
the stuff I've used, I've had up to the temperature in the tank spiked up to probably close to 350, and I've never had a fire.
Well, what my situation is, that big burner underneath there, it'll throw a flame out the side every now and then if you catch the wind just right. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And it'll blow up the side where it's boiled over and it'll catch fire.
Yes.
I've done that,
Eddie, I've always been told that it does not affect the glue. So I don't know.
That's what I've been told as well. But I think it's important to know what glue that Joey's referring to, because all those glues are not created equal.
Right.
Yeah. I've never used anything that I waxed except the
Tight bond.
what's the wax?
Tight bond.
What's the glue?
Yeah.
Tight Bond 3. That's what I use. On all
Same
mine.
here.
I've never had it break apart or show any signs of damage in the glue.
Actually, I'd tell you what I do.
Turn the Duke. If you got if you got where the glue seeps out of a joint or something, it'll be a browner spot there.
Mm-hmm.
It'll turn the glue dark, but it never.
Yeah.
I've never noticed it breaking it down in any way at all.
I've seen that myself. What I could do, just thinking out loud about it, if one of these double screen boards doesn't adhere or get the way I want it to, I'll do a video of me ripping it apart, and we'll see because I put a lot of glue on those in there before I wax dipped it, and we'll see, because if that glue is still adherent, it should rip some of those grains off with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it will.
that'd be a good test.
So according to the 0.39 ounce calculation and what you can get Hive Guard on without shipping, it costs just over $1 to wax dip a deep box.
Did everyone hear what Melissa just said?
Yeah.
Just according to the 0.39 pounds per deep pine box, not counting, Melissa just said some calculations, not counting the shipping of that wax to your location, which is expensive, by the way. That's just the wax itself. It's
$1.01.
It's $1.01.
And that doesn't include the propane or anything.
Doesn't include your consumables, propane.
You can double that for shipping because your shipping, of course, just about double what
Is
your
he breaking up for you
Yes.
guys or me? Or is it just me?
It's clear over here.
Unless you get it at Nobby, then you don't have to pay shipping.
Just me.
Yeah, get it at Nobby. Buy what you need ahead of time.
So it
Well,
costs
that's the stuff out of
$1 a box.
Canada. What I'm talking about the shipping from me, Knoxville to me, comes motor freight. And if I get $1,000 worth of wax, I'll have a doggone near $1,000 freight bill on it.
Yeah. I'll tell you the one thing that makes the difference, depending on how much wax you are ordering, if you have it shipped to a commercial address, if you're going to get more than just a little bit, it will behoove you to do that because the shipping will be different. Now, if you get several boxes like Carl was thinking about potentially buying, that will come in freight. It will have to go to a commercial address and you'll have to unload it yourself. That will, again, then save you a little bit. I can't remember now. The first pallet I got from Blended Waxes, which is here in the U.S., they have their own quote unquote proprietary blend of a microcrystalline and paraffin wax. It's a blend. They wouldn't tell me what it was because it's, top secret, right? Anyway, when I had it shipped freight, and I unloaded it with a skid steer at the shop up there. So it was a little bit cheaper, but I can't recall now. I'd have to look back at the ticket to find it. How many 100 pounds I had shipped and what the cost was. I want to say for some reason it was a couple $100 to ship, but I can't remember.
This solves your problem right here. Take your wife to Pigeon Forge and run to Knoxville.
Blended wax.
Yeah, you can. You could doggone near. I can almost afford to drive down there. I never have, but you could almost afford to drive down there if you. For what the freight is, I can tell you that motor freight.
We paid $193.
I don't think I'm lying and I exaggerating. I think the last month I got the freight on it was $700 from Nashville to my door there at the farm. And I think I usually get
One.
usually around 1,000 pounds at a time, half and half. And there's different crystalline solutions. I mean, what I can buy, you can buy different crystalline solutions. I got one formula that I like that I use, and I mix it 50-50. I'd have to look at if you go on their website, I'd have to look through their. They've got a G in different waxes,
Mm-hmm.
and then different microcrystalline solutions.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to get Melissa to Google it for me to tell you what one to get.
So Melissa looked up our ticket from Blended Waxes. This was in 2021. We ordered 416 pounds of wax
$1.98 a pound.
at $1.98 a pound, which you won't get that anymore. It's up to whatever, $2.50 a pound or something.
And then the freight charge was $164.
Freight charge was $164, and then the service charge was like another. It was almost $200 for shipping. So
I never did get it that well. You're talking. I've always got quite a bit more than 400 pounds at a time. I usually get 1,000 pounds or so at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've been through 3 different orders of it. So.
Thank you, Clay.
Yeah, DC, you're not wrong. He says the cost is a reason multiple beekeepers go together on the cost, and I don't disagree with that.
I'll get you one box dip, Clay. If I get my half from Joey, I'll get you one box dip.
We could have a wax dipping party at JW's farm, in like a week or so.
Yeah.
Bring your lawn chairs, bring your iced tea and soda, and
Greg's on there.
bring your
Confirm with him how much wax it absorbs.
Fishing rod.
fishing rod. That's right.
Yeah.
Bring enough food for me too, because I like to eat.
Yeah.
Did you hear?
That'd be good.
No, it doesn't, Paul. I'm not interested.
Bring your hose because I got some garden work to do too while you're here.
Oh, that's not what I thought you meant.
Hey, this is not that kind of chat, buddy. Listen, this is your first strike. This ain't that kind of chat. Matt, would you get a handle on Grandpa? He can't be saying those kind of things in here.
JW, we're still alive.
Yeah, we're still alive, buddy.
Yes.
Not in the green room.
Joey's running it. You could probably tell me. I wouldn't know the difference when we was live or when we wasn't live.
Oh boy.
Well,
I-
anyway, it's all
That's good.
it's all meant to be fun.
I don't know. Some of these folks out here might need to know where they can get a good hose reel.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's on the internet, right?
I've still got about 300 or 400 foot of that matting to cut up too, and that's with the
That's the best.
saw. That's kind of a strenuous deal. I can tell you that.
How are you cutting it?
You get the shakes.
How are you cutting that? What kind of saw?
Huh? Sawzall or reciprocal saw.
Okay.
Huh.
I'm sure if I could buy a little, maybe one of them little, maybe 7-inch battery jobs, hand jobbies, but I hate to buy one just to cut up that stuff, So I've got a Sawzall that I had for years. That's what I've been using.
Is it just solid rubber, or does that have some sort of?
It's like a tire, a radio tire. It don't have steel belts in it, but it's
Woven.
it's half-inch thick,
That's
You're
a horse
doing
mat,
just
right?
about as much burning as what you're doing cutting. That saw blade, you don't want to touch it after you make it pass through there, because it will burn you.
That's a horse mat.
Pardon me?
That's a horse mat or a stall mat.
Conveyor belt.
That's just
Oh,
mat.
conveyor belt.
Okay,
It's
that's
a
just
conveyor
mat.
belt.
No, I'm not saying mat. I meant a mat like M-A-T, not M-A-T-T.
I've been called much worse than that. Yeah.
Hey, Matt, my Sandy over here is mouthing off.
You're just keeping you in line.
I know, right?
You can't.
I can tell you one thing, it's heavy. I broke a bale fork with,
No kidding.
hard bale spear.
Oh,
Right through the middle of that thing is on it's rolled up.
Today.
I had about half of it off, and I picked it up, and it still weighed enough that I bent my my bale spear on the front end loader on John Deere's.
Oh boy,
John Deere. So
that must be pretty heavy stuff.
they say it weighs 4 pounds of a lineal foot, 4 foot wide, 48 inches across, weighs 4 pounds a foot.
How many feet did you get?
How many?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 350, but I think they stretched I think their measurement was a little off. I don't think there's that much of it.
Well, that's 1,400 pounds, just for reference. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
That bale spear should hold more than that, right? Don't those bales run 1,000 to 1,200 pounds?
Some of them, yeah.
Huh.
There's that on the end of it. I didn't get clear into it.
Oh, okay. I understand. I got you.
It didn't break it, but it bowed it, and that's hard stuff, I can tell you.
Yeah. Next time I come out, I'll jump in the tractor and I'll ram it down in the dirt a couple times and flick it around, see if I can't get her straightened out for you. All right.
I've run over. I've straightened them before, with the front. Just turn them over and lift the tractor with them, till they straighten back up. I've been them before with bales.
Hey, what if we run that spear in the side of Matt's Denali and go try picking up on it and we can get her squared back up?
No.
No.
I had the video of AW chasing Tom around the farm.
Hey, I'm not so sure that if he didn't get mad at me, he wouldn't try to spear me with that thing. Oh boy.
You boys are not being very nice, still, man.
Oh, get out of here. Oh.
I hurt my feelings, Joey. I may have to leave the studio.
It's all fun and games at the Soapstone Farm Ranch.
Sure is.
Well, y'all have to come up. We'll have a gathering of the clan one of these days.
Mm-hmm. I want to do a fish fry out there. Get some of that crappie in. We'll do a fish fry and bring us some. I'll have Melissa come out and fix us all the fixings there. How about that? So she said no.
I've got plenty of it. Well, I don't have lots of it, but I got enough for maybe one round of crappie, and then we have to go to Vietnamese catfish or something. Some of that. Don't knock it if you haven't tried it. I'm telling you.
That's why it's good, man. That's why.
Yeah.
Vietnamese catfish is really good. It's mild. It's
It
really good.
Is. Don't knock it if you haven't tried it.
It's way better than farm raised catfish. That's for
I
sure.
usually feed that to all the freeloaders that show up. I say about that.
I'll be there. I'll be there tomorrow. How many pounds am you gonna feed me?
Mm-hmm. All you want. I can buy it with it comes 35 pounds in a box. What it comes in. I bought the Lots of it. Fed it to all my freeloading family.
But
Matt
back
and
when
I
that
are
stuff,
preferred A-list customers. We get that premium crop, right, Matt?
I love it. I can't
Yes,
wait.
sir.
back when that stuff first came out, I just found it in the grocery store, and it wasn't expensive at all, and I just decided to give it a try. And man, I was like, this stuff's really good. So I started buying it a lot, and then everybody else figured out it was good, and then the price.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I've used it for several years. It's pond raised Vietnamese, pond raised catfish. What that is?
Mm-hmm. Well, they catch it's wild in the rivers there. It's in running water. It's not,
Oh,
That's what they say about the tuna too, Philip.
well, I'm not saying they don't have farms that raise it, but
Oh, I
do
know. I'm just teasing.
they make the water run when they are raising them? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to Vietnam? You seen any of that water? I don't think so.
I don't want to know how the sausage is made, JW.
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I don't think you've seen some of them streams that you might want to go there either.
Hey, DC, what would go wrong if Cayman gave us an area to hang out in? There's nothing that could go wrong in that outfit there.
Not at all.
It'd be like the Bachelor hangout, you know? Well, it's part of the He-Man Woman Haters, so
Yeah.
you guys have to find your own
You're
spot.
gonna He-Man woman hate yourself to a night on the couch.
I'm digging a hole over here. Is anybody else going to help me out?
And they call them, Yankees call them crappie. A little bit of everything.
Now, Melissa's a good cook, though.
Huh. You better say that.
Mm-hmm. No, she does. I mean, I'll go out there and work from sun up till sundown, but I don't like to cook. If I'm being honest, and Melissa doesn't mind doing it, so it works well for us.
There's nothing better than a good fish fry. You know.
Oh yeah.
Done a lot of
100%.
trout where you're camping on the side.
So on our range, all the burners went out except one. And so my wife had a guy come in, and it's one of those deals, you know, it's electronics. Everything's all electronics. It's a glass top, electric. And you know, there's a price like $125 just for them to tell you what's wrong with it. But they did have a deal where it was it's a $1,200 stove. So they had a deal. It's like just under $400. They would fix it no matter what it was. Okay. And so the guy comes in and he tells her it's the relays that are telling the burners when to turn on and off, because it would say it was on, but it wouldn't get hot. So he told her, he said, well, these parts are on back order and it might be over a month before I can get them in and all this stuff. So we were trying to decide if we're going to buy another stove or pay it was like $400 after taxes. I finally told her, I said, you know what, just let's order a cook plate on Amazon, $30 or whatever, two burners. We'll cook on that for a month and then get it fixed. And so that's what we agreed to do. Well, the first 2 nights we had this cooktop, she cooked dinner, and she don't cook very much. She works a lot. And I was like, I'm not fixing your oven. I got dinner 2 nights in a row.
We're on to something.
Like, I love this. I love this broken stove. This is awesome.
Hey, listen, we need to have this chat where Melissa's not listening, guys. Can we let's just quiet a little bit more. I like to chat, but let's just a little bit quieter. She's over there.
The parts to the stove came in like 3 days, and it's fixed, and I hadn't had dinner cooked for me yet.
Go break this. You know what? I'll come over with a hammer. I'll fix that stove.
Just go and plug the stove.
She's at the movie, so I can talk big time like this.
Hey, Philip, I'll make you a deal. I'll come down to Texas, hang out with you. We'll go play in the bees. I'll come over with a sledgehammer. I'll break the stove.
Okay.
We'll get your wife a new cooktop. She'll make us a good meal, and life is good. And then in return, you get me one of them cool shelves. All right. I bring that
Okay.
back to Melissa,
deal.
and then I get points here. See, this
That's a
world just
deal.
goes round.
That's a deal. So, yeah, that she cooked really good meals on that $30 cooktop.
And Jeff Chester, if you're talking about Destin, Florida, I know a little bit about the fish down there. I run a charter boat out there for 17 years. Had one in Destin, one in Port St. Joe, and one over Orange Beach. So I don't know what you're talking about on the fish part of it.
What's your favorite fish to eat out of the ocean, JW?
I'm a scamp man, strictly scamp.
We get two
If you're in the charter boat business, you don't eat nothing but grouper throats. Probably that's all you get left with. That's you have to eat the throats of the grouper. I've eaten a lot of those, but my favorite fish is deep water grouper scamp.
They have more of that. They have more of that like steak kind of texture to them, not that light flakiness, right?
I don't know what you. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't.
Maybe more like a maybe not as dense as like a tuna, but definitely not as flaky or light like you would get with like a snapper or something.
I never liked snappers. Too fishy tasting for me. I don't like
love them
at all.
Oh man, I love snapper.
Well, a lot of people's gonna do backflips when I say I don't like red snapper, but I do not like red snapper. So never have, never will.
I like that Mai.
What's your thought on the trigger fish?
Only thing makes snapper better is grits, JW.
Get out of here.
Ruined it all.
You ruined it.
Bourbon soap snapper.
You gotta have some rice with it.
Cheese grits. I know how you Southern boys are, and I never did like those things either. My mama used to stick those in front of my mouth every morning. Do not like grits. Never did as a kid. And 81 years hasn't improved my taste for it. I can tell you that.
That hogfish is good too.
Yeah, that is. What's your thought of a hogfish?
That's just a deep water species. I never caught them enough to ever make a decision on them. They're hard to. You won't catch one.
That must not be the kind of hogfish I saw when I was scuba diving. They weren't very deep.
Trigger scamp and yellow edge grouper. Yeah. Yeah.
You ever gotten any trigger that tastes like iodine?
Yeah, they all do.
I've had some that
they all do taste like iodine to eat them raw.
Now, isn't there if you eat them raw. Well, I don't eat them raw. I eat them cooked. So.
Well, triggers are really tasty eating, but they're son of a gun to clean.
Real bony, aren't they?
No, you just flay them off. I just always flayed them. Just flayed them off like anything else. But they're a little bit. Their hides are a little bit tougher than most fish to, cut the flays off.
Anytime
And I don't mind the flounder now and then, but I don't want a steady diet of it. So whatever.
They talking about grits. The best way to eat grits is with Russell Koopman's peach creamed honey.
Yeah, that'd be all right. I always ate the best way to eat grits is to wrap them in a shoe tongue out of a shoe.
Throw them in the trash.
Cook them for about 30 minutes and throw the grits away and eat the shoe tongue. Yeah, but I do it.
Hey, here, that's something me and this old fella agree on. Yep, I agree with you. I don't even need to Google that one.
Now Clay's go crappie fishing. Well, come up, Clay, and we'll go. I'd like to do. If I didn't spend so much time with these dang honeybees, I'd be fishing a lot more than what I'm fishing. I can tell you that. No, Steve, you can't change my mind on grits, young man. I'm telling you, you cannot change my mind on grits. I've had them thrown at me every way known to man, and I still don't like them. I'll take the shoe tongue any day.
Well, the saying down here is it's as good as grits as groceries. I guess that don't mean that nothing to you.
No. Cheese, grits, and fried fish, a southern staple. Yes, it is, and I can keep it all.
Mm-hmm.
That and then, oh man, having another senior moment. What is it y'all eat with you catch with the cast nets down there? Joey, what they catch with the cast nets they eat with cheese grits. Has the roll in them. A lot of the people eat the roll.
I don't know.
No. I'll think of it a minute. I'm having a senior moment. Mullet. Attaboy, Clay. Thank you, Clay. Saved the old man again. Mullet.
Use a cast net for anything but bait.
Well, y'all, it's been 3 hours.
14 seconds.
I think it's time to put this live to bed.
Well, hey, Joey, before you end it, can you wait for JW to get into a conversation and we'll cut the rope on him like you did me and Matt the other night? Just straight pulled that rug right out from underneath of us.
I've got enough sense to stop. I'll stop anytime. All you got to do is say stop.
Anybody know Aaron Bishop?
I do not.
He's trying to get in, but he ain't showing his face.
Nope, don't let him. No offense. That's the rule. You got to show your face, right?
Yeah.
Part of the deal.
Yeah. Well, it's been, like you said, been 3 hours anyway, so we're going to be pulling out on this.
All right. I'm going to say good night to everybody.
Yes.
All right. Good night.
Been a fun one.
Yeah.
Clay, I appreciate the super chat. We'll see everybody next week.